need to join the thing.
Well, we still got 2 minutes. She says she's
1
here.
minute.
She says she's in the audience.
Invite to speak. I need her to join. Hey, Danny.
Whoa, Danny types hard on her keyboard.
Mm-hmm. You know it. I'm in the Google Meet as well.
Which Google Meet are you in? I don't see you.
The one you emailed me?
Is it?
You want me to send her the usual link?
No. Yeah, I need her to be in a completely separate one.
Okay.
Oh, I'll close this one.
Yeah, I need you to be in the this one.
All right, it's 8:01.
Okay, I'm just waiting for Danny to log into the
I'm
Google
in.
Meet. I don't see
Asking
you.
to be let in.
Oh, there we go. That's why. Okay, can you turn on the camera?
Me?
No, Danny.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
You see?
There. Camera's still off on the Google Meet.
You want my camera on?
Oh, do you want to be on camera or no?
I mean,
you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. If you wanted to be
I'm
on camera.
super cute. Let's go. Ron's not on camera, so that's why I feel cheated.
Yeah, but I normally never talk in these things. Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna put a blast out to the Facebook invite.
All right, guys. I know you in the audience can hear us. We're just you guys on the Discord always get the behind the scenes chatter. We are just about to be live. I know we're a couple minutes late, so bear with us.
Okay.
Danny, if you do too good, you're gonna have to start doing all the commentary on the games too.
I mean, I'm quite the talker, so.
Danny, I can pull up also the website for the Kickstarter if need be.
Okay.
Almost done. And move. Yes.
Ron, I'm gonna have to trust you on image. I've got the same thing going on. I always kick out for big chunks of time, so I can't see the camera right now, but I'll just go for it.
I need you, Joe, to move a little bit to the left. More.
This way?
Yeah, camera left. There we go. Stop right there.
Perfect.
Okay, we're good. Ready? We're gonna
Just let me
transition
know when
now.
we're live.
Okay, we're 1, 2, 3.
you're invited back anytime.
Oh, that.
Yeah. So we just you've seen Mystique has just put our little link in the chat too. So Ron, how are we doing? Are we still having some technical difficulty with the OBS? Okay, we think we're good over there. Great. So what's the intention, Danny? Should we run through each one of these tiers? Do you think while we've got this up? I lost my audio, my visual a little bit here, so I'm not sure what we're showing. But do we want to go
Got
through
you.
each one of the tiers and kind of walk through each one?
I love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
I do want to do one spoiler. Do you mind if I give everybody a little spoiler right now before we do this?
I mean, I'm about the worst secret keeper on the planet, so you're not going to get any trouble spoiling anything. I'm the Tom Holland of Lazarus Rising Games over here, so.
The
So
Tom
go ahead.
Holland, bless his heart. One thing I want to say is we're going to walk through these tiers. However, if you have not signed up for our email list, I meant to kind of tease this earlier. We are going to have an early bird special. So at midnight, there are 100 of one item available at a 40% discount. And that's all I'm saying. So we're going to walk through these tiers, but there is a tier you are not seeing. There is an add-on you are not seeing that you're going to want to know about. So we're going to start with our baseline tiers. Joe, if you want to walk us starting with the initiate. But if you guys want to take a second too and go subscribe to that email list.
Absolutely. I'm gonna give me a second to open it in a separate tab just because I'm not seeing our camera. All right, so going through our tiers. So our initiate is our initial tier, and actually this is walk us through that process.
Great question. So this is when we're going to keep hearing this phrase I'm going to say over and over. That's an add-on. So you're more than welcome to come in and pledge for our initiate tier. And then at checkout, look at the add-on and grab the other 2 decks. You can add them right to your cart, right there. So you start with all 4.
Now, do they choose which decks it is? We get a lot of questions on price. I think a lot of people, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I'll just say, I know even from playing, being a very, very heavy Magic the Gathering player back in 2015, prices are just higher. So I think you'll notice if you actually go look at what a box of Magic cards cost now, if you're not getting the buy a box discount, we are competitive with the buy a box discount on here for a set of cards. You're getting the same amount of packs and you're getting 17 playable cards. A 15 card pack of Magic always gives you a basic land and always gives you an advertisement. So you're really getting almost 33% more cards per pack. and we're charging the same price that you'd get with the big store discount. So we've tried to heavily discount this stuff. So just for the people, it's really the best you're going to get. The price individually per card is better for ours than you're going to get for any other game. So that's what we'll say about the price. So this is a 2 starter decks in a booster box. So Danny, this is going to work just like the other one. Now my question here is, do they pick their starter deck, or are they getting 2 specific starter decks?
In this one, they are lucky enough to get Ungodly Powers and Horror Menagerie. So they get assigned the 2 cards you see here in the image itself.
Okay, great. And then, so same process. So they would just then go to add-ons and they say, okay, I want to buy the Explorer, but I want all 4 starter decks, which I think a lot of people that buy this tier are probably going to want to do. When they go into add-ons, they again would just choose, when they get the add-on, the Resistance and the Time Detectives for their other 2 starters.
Absolutely. And,
Okay.
you know, a binder, a play mat. I'm just suggesting things now at this point.
Other things. And then we do have some we've started to get our samples in. So we will have some cool stuff to show you tomorrow night as well. So as she's talking about the add-ons, we'll have one of our single player play mats to show. We'll have the binders, very cool. We'll have some sleeves. Ronald, are we at a point yet where we can announce our sleeve partner, or no? Yes? Oh, so just guys, officially Titan Shield is now our partner. Titan Shield will be producing all of our sleeves for the game. So if you guys have used Titan Shields before, you know what you're going to get. Looks like we're going to do gloss sleeves, not matte. And we got samples back with the art on those, and it looked pretty cool. So we're excited about that too. So there's another little spoiler for you guys. So Titan Shield is now going to be the official sleeve provider for OverPower. Let's keep going here. All right, we have got the hero. So the hero is, you've got your 4 starter decks, you've got your 2 booster boxes, you've got a power card station. Now, this is still, I would still kind of consider this the individual person's thing. You know, you got two boxes is going to get you close to a full set of commons and uncommons, which is what you need to play. You'll get mostly player set. I mean, you're going to want 3 copies of most non-1 per decks for deck building. If you want to be like crazy, like some of us people are, and be able to build the same character in 2 or 3 decks, you won't be able to get that without doing one of the higher tiers. But 3 boxes, I think, will get you pretty close to a player set. And whatever you're missing, you'll be able to trade for, pick up, if you just happen to get unlucky and only get 1 or 2 copies of a given character. The drop rates for some of the really rare foil versions of the alternative art, that stuff's going to be a lot more. It's going to be, I can tell you, we've looked at the drop rates for all of the other big games, and we have a comparable amount of rares and ultra rares as the biggest games on the market, and our drop rates are going to be almost exactly the same. So, you know, the same percentage that you get an ultra rare for in OverPower, it's not going to be much of a different experience than getting a mythic rare in Magic the Gathering, or one of the chase cards from another set that has that similar structure. So now the foils rares and the foil mythic rares, that's going to be an even higher drop rate. That we're doing a little differently because we're not replacing the rare with foil commons or uncommons. If you get the foil, it's going to be in the slot that it comes for. Meaning, when we get to the stretch goals, if we get to the point where we fulfill enough of the stretch goals and the commons and the uncommons show up in foil, you will get those in randomly where your character stacks. We've talked about hero card and 5 specials, that you'll get your whole stack in foil and your other one will be regular and stuff like that. Or you may get a pack where it just lines up perfectly and you have a foil character stack, a foil uncommon, and a foil rare or ultra rare. So that's kind of how our distribution and foiling is going to work. So for this set, you're going to get 1 of each starter deck. You get those 2 boxes, which will give you a nice chunk of the set. And then you get our power card station. So our power card station is, we're not putting power cards in the pack, and we also have limited play formats. So we wanted to make sure players had a way to just get a lot of power cards really quickly. We're not looking for them to be ultra collectible. So minimum, these power card stations are going to have 200 power cards in them. We're trying to pack them bigger. I can't make any promises, but it might end up being even a lot more than that. If the numbers work out right and they can do the boxing the way we want, that may shoot up by 50%. But right now we can say minimum 200 power cards for that, and that's going to give you enough where you pop those open when you're doing a draft, and you and your friends can just get your cards and build your deck out of those sets. So, and that's kind of the intention of it, is making those available at stores at a really low price point. So stores always have a huge inventory of power cards for players who show up to do an event and forget their own power cards or just don't have access to as many yet. So we're getting one of those. That's a pretty straightforward tier. Danny, anything you wanted to say about our hero tier?
Nothing really. The one thing, we actually did just have a question come up on the chat that I'd love to bring up super quick, if that's cool.
Jump in, yeah. What do you got?
So you're going to see a lot of information when you look at each tier. When you look at the bottom, there's going to be some great resources for you that we put in here. There's a production timeline section. There's a shipping info section. There's frequently asked questions, FAQs, which I can't, it's still dirty in my head. And also, again, another how to do add-ons. So we're having a lot of questions about production timelines. You will see that on our tiers, we have set September 2025. But if you dig into these a little bit more, you'll see that we're pushing to get this stuff out ASAP. So there'll be more about that timeline. And also, just so you know, I'm going to be fully transparent, updating about timelines, when things are coming, when things are dropping. So you will be hearing from myself and from Joe frequently with exciting updates. So that's kind of just overall thing about the Kickstarter, Kickstarter. But yeah, check out those resources with the production timelines, with the frequently asked questions. You'll see a bunch of fun stuff there and a bunch of information as far as timelines and expectations that way. But yeah, that the hero tiers. We're getting to the sexy ones, Joe. We're getting to the good ones.
Good. And we've said too, look, our intention is this. So we're being pretty transparent. Production's happening in February. Our printing facility at Cartamundi, we are going to go with Cartamundi North America. We toured the Belgium facility, but honestly, to make it better for you guys so we can do fulfillment faster and we don't have to ship from Belgium, we found they ended up with a printing window in North America in February, and we decided we're going to try to do that because our fulfillment center is within a 3-hour drive. It's Dallas and Austin. And so for us, that's going to allow us to hopefully, in a perfect world, we want to try to fulfill in April and May. That's kind of our goal. But we have to, you never know. Like, look at what just happened. We were trying to get these samples for New York Comic Con, and there was an issue in China. There was the longshoreman strike that happened, and we ordered these from vendors who weren't Cartamundi just to get them in time because we weren't going to be able to do what we needed to do to ship them in. So things happen. We want to make sure that we give you a date that we know we can fulfill by. We know we will fulfill this by September. Now, in a perfect world, we want these for the tournament circuit next year. So just on a selfish side for players and wanting to play them and do our little owners circuit that we're still going to do, we want to get them in really as the season starts. So hopefully, I can't make any promises, but if we get this printed in February, hopefully stuff's getting in your hands by mid-April, early May. In a perfect world. All right. Should we go to the next tier, Danny?
Let's do it. It's getting exciting.
All right. We are up to the Dueler. The Dueler, great tier. This one is Duel a Friend with this 2-player tier, featuring all 4 copies of our unique starter deck. So you're going to get 8 starter decks. That's 2 copies of each one. You're going to get 3 booster boxes. You're going to get 2 power card stations. You're going to get a double how to play mat like you've seen here that we produce, which is the 2-player play mat. And our how to play mat is going to have the line work like you'd see in the rule book that denotes all of the different places you place your cards. Kind of a guide to help new players. We haven't, I can't remember if we went over this in detail on the stream yet, on the Q&A. You'll also find on our Learn to Play mat, we started using the white iconography on our card to denote offensive, defensive, cards that have a remainder of battle, remainder of game effect, cards that are the first cards you have to play on your turn. All of those little white icons on the side are markers to help new players in a way that was always kind of a struggle in the old game, determining certain cards seemed like they might be defensive, but they weren't. You've got that all on the cards now. All of that is going to make it super easy for new players to play. It makes it easier for returning players. It also gives us a design space where we may want to take a card that's defensive sometimes and say, well, for this character, he can't do it defensively. So from a design space, it actually gives us the ability to do that intentionally. Those white icons on our Learn to Play playmat, we have a key. So you can actually just look down and you're like, oh, what does this icon mean? It's a paper clip. It means when I play it, it attaches to the target. So you're going to get that 2-player playmat's going to be really helpful for new players. Not old players, but it's got some pretty sick Billy the Kid art on it, so that's cool. Now this tier, what I think is going to happen, I'll be honest with you, I think this is the one where the add-ons for the booster boxes are going to come in. So Danny, I'm going to kind of feed you these questions as if I'm buying. If I bought into this Dueler with my friend, I'm going to want half those starter decks and a power card station. I'm going to add my own playmat, but I'm going to want 3 booster boxes of my own. Is that something I can go add on to the Dueler?
100%. At checkout, if you scroll down amongst the add-ons, you'll see that right there. Click, click, click. You've got 3.
So then when it comes, you'll just get your 6 packs. And if you're doing this with a friend, you guys can split those booster boxes between you. So, all right, that's the Dueler. What do you think, Danny? What do you got to say about the Dueler? Anything specific?
Well, see here, I'm a kid from the 90s. I say a kid from the 90s. I was like in my 20s in the 90s. And I'm a little palpitating for the Dueler, but we're about to go to my happy place, which is the Ambassador. Because for me, with OverPower, it's about bringing it back and including it with friends and being able to host a space for me personally. So the Dueler's great, but I'd love to get into the Ambassador.
All right. Now, the Ambassador, this is our biggest tier for individuals before we get into what we're calling our store tiers. Correct, Danny?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So the Ambassador tier, this one's $800, but as far as this is really designed around what a lot of the players gave feedback. This is if I was a consumer and I didn't own the company, this is about what I buy into when a set would come out. So this gets you a box of starter decks. That lets you do some sealed if you want to do it with your friends, where you randomly take a starter, you get some packs, you throw a prize up there, and you guys can run a sealed with either 3 or 6 packs. You're going to have the extra booster boxes to do that. It gives you extra booster boxes so you and your friends can get together a few nights in a row and do draft, where you each open the 3 packs and you just build decks straight from that, and you're building your collections as you go. That's also a good thing to talk about. I think one of the reasons for me, as somebody who was a really competitive Magic the Gathering player, that was how I would build out my decks for the new seasons. I wasn't always going out and saying like, okay, I want to try like this white black deck. I would go draft the first month that the set was out, and I would just draft into colors that I wanted to collect the cards for sometimes. I wouldn't always, because I wanted to win as much as I could too. But if it even looked remotely open, and I would go into that. That's kind of good with this, is if there's certain characters that you really want to try, draft is a great way to just say like, well, I've opened a box, but I didn't get any Mr. Hyde and I want to try him. I'll take Mr. Hyde cards when I do drafts and keep them at the end and fill out the collection that way. So I know draft with most CCGs is the most popular format. We've really put a ton of thought into both draft and sealed deck to make sure that it's super fun to run at home with just your friends, or to run as a store with a bunch of people in pods competing at the store level. So what do we got? We've got the starter deck. That's going to give you 4 of each starters, 12 starters. You've got 5 booster boxes. That's going to definitely be enough to give you a full play collection. You're not going to need to just open more to get the playable commons and uncommons. Probably not going to get you every rare card. If you're a completionist and you're really trying to fish out all those rares, you're probably still going to have to do some on the market, but you'll probably get some dupes or something you'll be able to trade for and make some sales on. We've seen with this is going to be a first edition, the Kickstarter version. If we go into stores, when we reprint, when we do any of that, that's going to have a different set icon. I invite, 6 friends over, 8 friends over, and we actually just did that for a playtest event 2 weekends ago, and it was like some of the funnest OverPower since I was 15 years old. So it was a blast. 2 double player how to play mats. So if you and a friend buy it, you'll have multiple. And then we're going to get into some of our awesome single player play mats. So you're going to see we've got that Edgar Rice Burroughs play mat that's going to be Tars Tarkus. That's done by artist Raymond Gay. Just fantastic artist, where he's actually jumping back in to do a few more extra rare cards for us. We just made a deal with him to do more because we really love. He did our Hercules piece that's at the top banner of our Kickstarter. He did the Leonidas piece that we're giving away at Comic-Con as the common collectible card. So he's going to come back and do a few more pieces because we just love we love the guy's work. We love working with him. And then our World Legends playmat, my favorite character so far, she's kind of stolen her way into my heart, has been Mina Harker. I liked the premise. I grew up on Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I loved Winona Ryder's portrayal of Mina Harker. I loved the Alan Moore kind of version of her in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I always love all the fan stories about her. What happens after? Dracula's dead. Is she still a vampire? What happens with her and John Harker? And so, yeah, so she's going to be one of the playmats. Again, Wilton Santos, just, I said this last time, we're not supposed to have favorites, but Wilton is right up there. I am a big, big fan of all his work. So that is the ambassador. You're going to get that Wilton Santos playmat. You're going to get that Raymond Gay playmat. You're going to get 2 of our Daniel Maya, Billy the Kid drawings, 2 power card stations, so plenty of power cards. You've got all those starter decks. So the cards that we're making starter deck exclusive, you're not going to, if you really don't want to go play in a store, to pick them up as commons in the reward packs like we talked about in previous Q&As. You'll have more than enough allies, basic universes, trainings. And when it comes to those cards, just so you guys know, our intention, this is something that came up and I want to address this because I don't think I've said this out loud. If you have a training card in World Legends, ERB, or any of our future sets, and it is the same to use values and the same bonuses as a training card from the original set, just like other games, you'll be able to use your original version in the modern format, as long as it's the same card with the same functionality. For example, if you have a 6 combat plus 3 to use, you can use that for those basic cards. We're not sticklers about that. You're going to have no proxies for certain things. We went through that whole debacle, but you will be able to use some crossover. But in the meantime, for new players who aren't going to have access to those legacy cards, this is going to be a great way to make sure you have enough for all your deck building needs, all the events you want to have, if you want to allow those to be put in the sealed events, not the way we're going to do it in tournaments. So yeah, it's going to get you everything you need to host those OverPower nights. So, and Danny, you said this one is one of your favorites. So I've been going on for a while. I'm going to kick it back over to you.
No, it's okay, Joe. I got to be honest. One of my favorite things is a good old fashioned Joe tangent. It's all good information, but sometimes I'm just like, here we go, let's go.
Let's go. You get the timer out.
Yeah, I do. Do, 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 do. It was cool. We actually had some comments on Discord that people are looking at the ambassador tier for the same reasons I am. So that's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, so this kind of rounds up our made for you player kind of tier. Not exclusively. Any of these tiers can be purchased by anybody, but moving forward, you'll see that the tier names have the word store in them, which means we're kind of pointing those towards retailers. And again, a retailer doesn't have to stick to just one tier because we've duplicated all of these tiers as add-ons. So you can buy, an ambassador and a rising store, or 3 rising stores, or 4 championships, if you want to be my new best friend. So I'm excited to dive into the retail tiers here.
All right. Well, let's start with the first one, the rising store. I can't resist a pun. So when we were thinking up names, I put that one up as the first one. So background to our 3 store tiers, and this is also true for our retailer tiers. James Sanderson, who I'll give you a shout out, James, who's been working with us as our head of distribution, player incentive, judge program. He's really been the architect for a lot of how we've done this. He worked at Pandemonium Books and Games in Cambridge, which is my hometown store. I consider it kind of my Cheers. I spent over a decade in there night after night and a lot of Fridays. So big shout out if you're in the Cambridge area and Boston at all, and you're looking for a game store, shoot over to Central Square and check out Pandemonium. They've got great play space downstairs. They've always got a selection. They've got an amazing staff. They know a lot about OverPower. John Beresford is one of the guys there that used to play with us back in the day, good friend of mine. So we really took the time to consult with stores like Pandemonium. Like if you guys, I know a lot of you probably watched the OverPower Adventures stream. Doug Sims that does that stream owns Heroes and Games out in Ohio. We talked to people we know that are familiar with Jetpack Comics up in New Hampshire, another store that I love. I spent a little time when I was a kid living in Rochester, New Hampshire, and some of the family, Al, who was here last year, does a lot of work with that store. It's a lot of his close friends that run it. That store I love. What a great comic book store. And they've been really helpful in over the years, helping me hunt down books I was looking for and different things. So, and a lot of other stores. We took the time to meet with all of these stores and say, guys, here's stores of different sizes with different demographics, some of you are more geared towards comics, some of you are more geared toward gaming. We want to construct 3 tiers that have appeal for all of these things, different size stores. A small store like that's maybe only got a play community of 8 to 10 people that are a little more insular and they kind of play and maybe they go out to PTQs or something. That for us, that would be going out to the regionals. And then we wanted to have the different tiers for the different sizes. The champion store for the biggest one that might actually be buying 2 or 3 of those at that level. So we're going to talk about the Rising store, which is, I kind of picture this a little bit like my hometown store that I grew up in with Maine, where there were really only 2 big groups of us that played OverPower. Most places that do this stuff have a play space now. So this Rising store, it's an amount that you probably wouldn't buy as a smaller store at like the full retail, but for the price we're offering it, it really gives you enough to build out an awesome OverPower community and run limited events, which is the 2 things we wanted stores to be able to do at any level. So at this level, you're going to get 3 boxes of starters. That's going to give you your point of purchase display on the counter, where people are going to come in. If you get somebody that's interested and they buy 4, you're going to have enough to really build out at least a dozen people who are like super fans of the game. You're going to get 9 boxes of boosters. Again, you're going to be able to sell packs to people who aren't all in and want to buy by the box, but you're also going to at least have some of those booster boxes to say, we're going to do a draft. We get 3 pods of 8. That's 2 boxes that you use up. You're going to be able to do that a couple of times. If you anticipate that you're doing drafts more often, if you think you've got a group of 8 that are going to want to do it every Wednesday night or every Friday night for multiple weeks, I would probably upgrade and do at least the victory store, if not the champion. That's sort of where these boxes are going to go. And for that same token, 3 power card stations. We really want you guys to make sure we know the struggles. If anybody here's a retailer that's watching, I'm very aware of the struggles of trying to keep land stocked. And we know with land, there's 5 different types. And even sometimes you get low on a type, so you order a bunch more land stations. Power cards are going to be the same thing. There's 32 different power cards in your basic power cards. You're going to get to a point where it's like, there's no 2 brute forces. What do I do? We want to try to make that as easy as possible for you guys. And we know it's a little bit more of a hassle to have the power cards on hand than just magic land. So we're giving you guys 3 power card stations. And like I said, we're going to try to cram those boxes with as many power cards as we can. We've got 12 sets of art sleeves. So that's going to be, this one I might need Ronald to jump in on. That's 12 sets of the 100 sleeves per pack, right? Ronald?
That is correct. It's 12 sets, so you're going to get per pack 100 different sheets.
Awesome. And that's an example of the art that we are going to be using on there. So we've got Victory Harbin on one, super popular character from the Edgar Rice Burroughs universe. She's also very fun in the game. She's kind of a descendant of that whole Tarzan, John Carter of Mars universe. So she interacts with like Jason Gridley and goes to the center of the earth and the different planets. She's really fun in the game. She's got some great mechanics. We've got John Carter art. We've got some Tarzan art. And then we've got some of our World Legends guys. So we've got a Wilton Santos version of the Headless Horseman. And we've got a Cuberball version of, it's a really fun version. It's a teamwork card where the Bride of Frankenstein is getting pulled through a swamp by the Mummy, who's a playable character you'll see later, and the creature from the Black Lagoon, who is not in the game yet, but there's lore in the game that the monsters exist. So those are the 5 that we're showing on here. We've got, again, a couple more of the double play mats. And this one, you get my favorite play mat. So this one is a painting Joe Jesko did for John Carter of Mars called Under the Moons of Mars. It's a really beautiful painting of Barsoom, which is their name for Mars. You get to see all of the different kind of monsters John deals with in a lot of the early books. So the 4-armed white gorillas, the lions that kind of like look like centipede lions, just the basic green Martians they fight with the 4 arms, which Tarkus is one of them. You get to see the plant man that can like drain the life out of people. It's got all of them. It is an absolutely beautiful piece of art. It's going to be a beautiful way to play Overpower. I just keep staring at it because I think it's gorgeous. The Mina Harker one we already told you about. And then we've got another one of the Kuber Ball paintings. We've been calling it the Pumpkin Head. It's Headless Horseman kind of hook-shotting his pumpkin head directly at the camera. You might have seen the really cool animation that it did on the commercial that we've been posting. So that's going to be the World Legends double play mat. And then last but not least, we've got our uncut sheet bundles that we're going to be doing. So the uncut sheet bundles are because we're doing production a different way than the traditional press printings. And so our uncut sheets are just going to be smaller. And so what we're doing is we're providing these to stores. They're still going to be collectible. There's just going to be more of them. But these are going to be provided in bundles for stores to be able to give away. And the great thing is instead of doing the ones that have 110 card slots, these are 7x3. But because of that, we're able to give you guys more. So you're going to be able to provide more of them as prize support. And they're still going to be unique because they're going to be different chunks of what would be on the bigger page. So we're actually kind of happy it worked out that way. It's going to let us send you guys bundles of them that'll be fantastic for prize support. And you can be a little more liberal with saying, hey, guys, we're going to give these away for our weekly drafts instead of just saving them for a regional or a really big event like you normally have to do with big uncut sheets. And there's going to be multiple of those. So that is the Rising store. So you're getting a lot there. And again, we want to preface, this is where you can do the add-ons. If you think everything on here sounds great, but you're like, geez, I'm going to do drafts like, we're getting this fulfilled in April and top, whatever the first set ends up being, either Top Cow or the other license. If that's not dropping till the end of the summer, I might want to be able to do a draft every week for, 12 weeks in a row. You might need to upgrade to the next store, or you might just want to directly add on booster boxes, or you might decide there's other playmats that you want to make sure you have more of to sell. And that's what's great about it is the Rising store. You can jump on there and do those add-ons. How did I do with describing the Rising store, Danny?
I am very proud. Minimal tangents, good information. I got to field some questions in the chat. I'm a proud girl. I would like to address a couple of questions, if you don't mind, Joe, just for a second here.
Yeah.
So Skittle Daddy had a great question, and I just want to be super clear on this. It's true. With most Kickstarters, you can only back one tier. What Overpower has done, what we've done, is we've created all these tiers additionally as add-ons, which means, especially, in this particular instance, he wants to buy for multiple people, but not have to buy a store and spend all this money. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I want the hero tier, and at checkout, you'll see additional tier in add-ons. That's where I'm going to also purchase another hero. That's for my dad. I'm going to get a Dueler. That's for my son. I'm going to get an ambassador because I'm a baddie. So you will absolutely be able to buy multiple tiers. You'll back one tier or run reward in Kickstarter, and then you can add the multiples, as many as you'd like of each, while supplies last, to your order. So there will be full flexibility of how you can kind of, create your custom experience. You don't have to say, well, if I want to buy for myself and my family, I guess I have to buy a store tier. You can absolutely buy multiple tiers. That being said, if you are just, I'm going to use your name, Joe Schmo, and you want to buy a store tier, you absolutely can. Those are not retail exclusive. Although they're geared towards retailers and shop owners, anybody can purchase those. So if you want to have some that you put away forever, if you want to have some that you, whatever, anybody can buy one of those store tiers. So those are not exclusive just to retailers. Another question we had was about stretch goals. You'll see as we go through each award that in the description it will say eligible for stretch goals. And we had a question about the initiate tier. And yes, sadly, the initiate tier does just qualify for that one stretch goal, which is the 4 digital wallpapers. So as you go through these tiers, yeah, look and see what's involved in the tier, but also know that we've kind of baselined these stretch goals around trying to give you guys as much love as possible and appreciation. So make sure you're kind of doing your checks and balances and saying, well, do I want to go up one more tier because I might get more drops, I might get more X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that's some of the chat that's been. I think we're good to move on to the victory store.
All right, victory store. This is our second one. So this is our this is the middle tier. So kind of the same things. I don't need to go through the whole explanation, but this one's going to be the one that gives you the boxes to really run those drafts and those sealed deck events. So we're going to get 6 boxes of starter decks. Each box comes with 12 decks. If you've got a store that's going to have a play community of 8 to 12 to 20 people, depending on the size of your store, you got to think each player is going to get a minimum of 4 starter decks. Some people might buy 2 of each starter deck just to really. I know for me, I like to have. If you look at my box, I've got a leather case I call the Continental. It's what it says on the top. But I have easily, I don't know, 7 to 8 decks stacked at all times. I hate swapping cards in and out of the decks. So I'm going to want to make sure I have enough to stack that many. That's the kind of player I am, I generally buy multiple of the starter decks. Some people don't always want to do that. That's why we're offering these at commons and uncommon in the prize packs as well. But with this tier for the stores, this is going to give you 6 boxes. So you're going to have enough where players like me can purchase multiple of the starter decks. You're still going to have inventory. You're going to be able to run a sealed deck event and have a decent amount of people. If you have a mid-range store and you run an event and 25 people show up, not going to be that big of a deal. You're only going to kick through, a little over 2 of those boxes. You still got 4 of them to put out on the shelf to sell singles. And you got enough to run a second sealed event. If you're doing drafts, this one's going to come with 18 boxes. And that's really what we have in mind. Is this is really for the store that says, I'm going to be running a weekly draft night and I'm going to be drafting these boxes. Like I've said it a bunch of times, but the math is, if you're doing, every person gets 3 packs. So if you're doing 8 pods of 8, every 3 pods does 2 boxes. I think my math is right there. So yeah, if you're getting 24 players in your store and you're doing 3 pods of 8, every night you do it, you're going to chew through 2 boxes of booster packs. So we wanted to make sure we kind of put the value of this, made sure there was enough packs where you could run consistent draft nights to help people build their collections, get the cards they don't necessarily have yet, and just have fun, because draft is super fun. It's my favorite way to play. 6 power card stations, just really trying to make sure you guys always have those power cards for players that show up and they're coming straight from work, they forget them. Players, always give your power cards back to the stores if you can. We give them back when you're done with the deck. Use your ones at home when you're home. 24 different sets of the sleeves, 24 packs of 100 sleeves each. So that'll get you started on getting people some sleeves if they want to buy into some of the art. Original Joe Jesco. We've got Joe Jesco, we've got Cuberball, we've got Wilton Santos, we've got 3 of the double player play mats. Again, we've got that Under the Moons of Mars play mat that I absolutely love. So you're going to have that available to sell. We're going to do 3 of the World Legends double play mats with the pumpkin head art. And we've got 4 of the World Legends single player Mina Harker play mats. And then we're going to also have a big selection of these bundles. So I think that's everything. I'm getting a little frozen up on my visual again, but I think that's everything, right, Danny? I'm missing the quantities on the bundles for the uncut sheets.
There's this one has the one uncommon bundle.
Yeah, Danny, can you read through those? I'm hearing from Ronald too. This is the Victory Store tier is the one that has the bundle of sheets for the uncommon cards, not just the common cards.
Let me open that up. Sorry, I was in the chat.
No worries.
furiously clicking away.
That's okay. Yeah, so I know
Yeah, the Victory Store has an uncut uncommons bundle. Oh, did we freeze out again?
and I've been invited back to the stage. All right. Sorry, guys. Yes. So we have all of those uncut sheets. I saw the chat thing pop up in the chat, but yeah, they are 7x3. So they are smaller sheets. So we're going to give you a bunch of them. You're going to have a lot of those you can give out for prize support. But this one will also give you some of the uncommon card sheets to give out as well. So you're going to have a little bit more of the rare cards. And that's mostly going to be the 1 per dex for the characters, their 6th card, some of the home bases, some of the teamworks, cards that we want in that slot that will kind of influence your picks when you do the draft. Yeah, so that is our victory store. That is our that's our mid-tier store for doing that, for doing drafts, for organized play. Danny, what else do you got to say about this one?
Not much to say about the Victory Store. We've had a lot of questions just on socials kind of coming through about the Victory Store. You know, a lot of retailers have said, can I either do a custom order or can I add different tiers together? And I just want to reiterate one more time that, yeah, you can absolutely, if you are a retailer and you want to buy the Victory Store, maybe not the championship, you can also in add-ons go back and add 3 duelers or 2 ambassadors. So just wanted to cover that one more time. We just had another question pop through on social media about that.
Yeah, I mean, Danny, to sing her praise, is really great at structuring these. She's tried to make this, or she's made it where you really can a la carte what you want and what works for you. You know, we're trying to do the opposite of what we don't want to be nickeling and diming. We want you guys to be able to get in and get a variety of the stuff that fits best, and then pick the other things out of the add-ons that's going to be exactly what you want. You know, that's why we're offering the multiple tiers as add-ons, and we're offering most of the items either in bundles or individually. We've really tried to construct this in every way we can to make a version of this that's going to work best for everybody.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to the Champion Store. All right. And again, I'm going to be going off I've got the site open, so correct me if I'm wrong on anything here, but Champion Store. This is our big one. This is for the big stores and maybe be buying multiple. Some of the people, I know some of the stores I talked to are buying multiple Champion Store tiers. This is for people that are going to cultivate a huge play community like Heroes and Games or some of those stores. So this Champion Store tier is going to give you 12 boxes of starter decks. So that should be at that point with starters. We know that they don't tend to move as fast as boxes of boosters just in general. That's going to be to fuel release events or sealed deck events. 42 boxes of boosters. That is going to be enough to support a pretty healthy, active draft environment. And if you think you're going to go through more of that, but you don't want to quite go to another store, you can add on another store tier. You could do a Rising Store as an add-on tier, or you could just go right to booster boxes and just say, well, I like everything I've got here, but give me another 20 booster boxes. Whatever you think you're going to chew through when you're doing those drafts. 10 power card stations. I would hope that that's enough, but we've got the power card stations as add-ons at pretty inexpensive. That's absolutely going to be the cheapest per card cost that you're going to get is what you're going to pay for those versus the amount. I'm committed to stuffing as many power cards into that box as I can, right up to the point where it's cost for us. If I can break even on that and give you hundreds and hundreds of power cards, that's our goal. We're not looking to make money off that. We're looking to make sure players and stores always have the power cards that they need. So we're going to give you guys 10 of those at the Champion Store tier. 48 sets of sleeves that you're going to be able to sell. 4 of the double how to play mats. So you're going to be able to get out in your tables. You're going to be able to use them for ambassadors teaching the game. You're going to be able to throw them out if you have new players. So you can put them at the new player tables, or you can sell them if there's new players buying into the game and they want one. 2 of the Edgar Rice Burroughs playmats, Under the Moons of Mars. I won't sing its praise any longer, but Joe Jesko is a gift. His painting is phenomenal. The Pumpkinhead Cuber Ball playmats, you're going to get 3 of those World Legends double playmats, 4 of the Edgar Rice Burroughs Tars Tarkas playmats with the Raymond Gay art, and 12 of our World Legends, 12 of our girl, Mina Harker, her Wilton Santos in front of a castle with the bats. Gorgeous, gorgeous playmats. You're going to get 12 of those. And then you're going to get our bundles for the 65 uncut sheet bundles. So I am having a little. What's the breakdown for the rares and the uncommons on this one? I don't want to hit anything and freeze my visuals up again.
So we have 15 of common 1, 15 bundles of common 2, 15 bundles of common 3, 10 bundles of uncommons, 5 bundles of rare, and 5 bundles of ultra rare.
So that's going to give you guys a lot of prizes that you're going to give out. So assuming you're cultivating a community that's playing pretty regularly, yeah, that's going to give you the ability to put those up as prizes. You can do, you'd be able to do like, oh, let's give commons to the top, 3 through 8 and give an uncommon and a rare, or a rare and an ultra rare. It's going to give you a lot of flexibility to break those prizes down with the uncut sheets, so that as a whole, more people will have an uncut sheet, but you're going to have still the rarity of getting like the really cool one. So yeah, that is the champion store tier. That is the big one. I should have given it more of a drum roll when we entered talking about it, not ended. But Danny, what else do you want to say about the champion store?
There's one thing I want to draw the champion store, and I realize that in this forum, in this town hall, if you will, we probably might not have a lot of retailers, but this is kind of a blanket statement across. Is one of the things that we are very mindful of and very excited to do was to offer all of these tiers at a discounted rate, at a rate that is much lower than you're going to be available to get at retail. So for instance, if a retailer was to put in a custom order for what we're looking at in the championship store, you're looking at $22,000, over $22,000. So we wanted to be, that's an extraordinary savings. Even when you're coming and looking at the Dueler, the Ambassador, you're looking at, in the 30s and the 40% off. And if anybody, wants to be really specific, you can bring up percentagecalculator.net and look at that retail versus what we're asking. We've had some chatter about, going over what our retail prices are versus our Kickstarter. This is a real big opportunity to get in, not only on the ground floor, not only with the exclusivity when it comes to having, the icons on the cards, etc., and some of the other Kickstarter exclusives, but it's an opportunity to come in and just save some money, and again, I know I keep getting more and more excited as we go higher and higher up the tiers, but that's just because obviously I'm looking at it all day, I'm curating all these ideas and thoughts, but I'm just as excited about the Explorer. You should be too. Yeah, I think that we did a pretty good walkthrough of everything. Joe, what do you think?
No, I think we did great, and I hope you guys are excited. I know we field a lot of questions. Anything with this, I know the questions are going to be like, what's the longevity? Well, we're trying to answer that question with announcing the Top Cow license. The license, we're hoping we get the contract finalized soon. We thought we were going to be able to announce the 3rd license before we drop tonight at midnight, but we just haven't been able to finalize the last bit of details. We're also, I want to make it clear too, we're not just talking to 2. We have, I don't even know the exact count, but more than half a dozen other licenses of varying levels that we're always in the stages of talking to and negotiating. So our plan is to be creating a game system that's going to go long term. And as always, like, we want to get back to the biggest boys on the block as well. So that's our intention. And I know it's some of the people, I don't take the negativity or any of the people that are pessimistic personally. I think any of that comes from a place of passion, where this was something that everybody loved so much and they wanted to come back, that it's hard to believe that it is. But guys, it's back. Like this, we are going to be putting out a minimum of these 3 sets, and it, with the amount of support, everything that we've got, it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So So you should feel comfortable being able to buy back into this. We've got a large number of retailers that have reached out. Distribution companies have already started reaching out to us directly and asking if they could carry this set before we even get to Top Cow. So yeah, you know, this is happening, and it's get excited. Overpower's back. I wanted to ask you, was there anything else anyone's talking about in the chat, or if anybody listening has any questions for Danny, who's our head of marketing and the real architect behind this entire Kickstarter? Now's the time to jump in the chat and ask her any specific questions about it.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a series of emails going out, you know, as early as soon as this evening. That's gonna have those how-tos of you know, how to pledge, how to do add-ons. So I'm gonna try to be as helpful as I can. I am working the graveyard shift for quite a while before someone takes over, so I'll try to stay active on the Kickstarter chat on our Discord channel, KS-chat. You'll see me. I am Overpower News. I know, big news flash, that there's been somebody goofy on the thread for this. It's called Overpower News. You've guessed it. It's me. So as far as that goes, I think we've kind of done everything really well. I'm here. I'm here to help everybody. There's no dumb questions, wrong questions. I'm still teaching my mom how to text me in not all caps. And I'm doing that probably at least once a week for about 2 years now. So I am patient. I am here to help this succeed, help you succeed, help you feel good. Pass along any questions there. I think I did just get one more question come through. Oh, I got something that says a bunch of questions. All right. Well, you know what, Joe? I might let you take over for a second. While
Joe needs a moment. He's reconnecting right.
He's reconnecting. Oh my goodness. See, Ron, why don't we see your beautiful face? That's the real travesty that we're missing out on. Alrighty. Yeah, but guys, I'm gonna be on Kickstarter this evening. I'm on my third cup of coffee, and I'll probably have another 4 or 5 before 2 or 3 a.m. So feel free to hit me up there. More than happy to answer any questions that I can. Again, you know, I'm kind of the architect. I love that he called me the architect of the Kickstarter. But yeah, that's my fluency. So happy to help anybody with any issues, any questions about tiers. Happy to get that done there. Oh yeah, I was just sent a
Awesome.
document with 25 questions. So you know what I might do is I'm going to go through these questions, get them answered. I'm going to put those in our Kickstarter chat on Discord. I'll remove any that we end up getting to. Yeah,
well,
a lot
we'll
of these
do also, Danny. We'll, if you're around still, I'll jump on and do a Q&A and answer anything I can about him at the end as well. So.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll go through and answer any of these. Great. I'll let you take over, Joe. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Ronald, Oh, great, we're up. So there's going to be some visual elements that aren't finalized in these. Not very many. They're actually pretty far along for influencer review and demo copies. But New York Comic Con running demos out of our booth with these two specific starter decks. The only one that's missing a card right now is so what you'll see in here is what you're going to get when you purchase them. You'll notice that the Ungodly Power is only going to have one Deja Thoris special in the back. But I'm going to start with the Horror Menagerie just because I really like Mina Harker, and we're going to get a look at it. So you'll notice kind of on the back, since we're here, I'll read you the flavor text. You'll notice that it has like not really a finalized font. It's a little basic with the writing, and it kind of says at the bottom, these abridged starter decks contain a review copy of Horror Menagerie, a starter deck for the new OverPower card game. Details such as the artist name, set icons, and set numbers are going to be added to the cards before final production. Not all visual elements are final. So those are things we've gotten questions about. Every card will credit the artist. Every card will have the set number that it is in the set, and every card will have the set icon. You're not going to see that on these versions. But this is going to give you, this is the finalized art for what the front will look like. You will see that we've got this wraparound art on it. Let me see if I can do this without injuring myself because I have scissors instead of my normal X-Acto knife. Oh, look at that. I think that actually went pretty well there. All right, so let's do this. This is also, guys, my first unboxing video ever. So let's see how we do. So this company puts a little sticky thing on it. I most likely, when you get these from Cartamundi, I'm assuming they'll be plastic wrapped even inside of those boxes. So
I can always sit here for 20 minutes, guys, and just tell you how beautiful I think the cards are, but we'll try to get this video back up so it's so you're at least getting the visual as well. And if anybody's noticing the scratches on my arm, that is because I still have a 2.5-year-old puppy that acts like she's 6 months old. So I'm safe at home. I'm safe in my home environment. It's just a puppy. Her name's Daphne. She's very cute. Well, why don't we do this? While Ronald's getting that back up, Letty, can you got any questions you can throw me real quick that I can answer? Oh, we're back up. Oh, here we go. Sorry, Letty. So ancient wisdom. So you can see, and I will say I do again, we made it to toot my own horn, but the colors, the way these came out on these art and these printings are great. The blue effect of the magic that the mummy's using to disintegrate the guns is like super cool. Mummy has the Eternal Journey. Offensive or defensive, he can negate the effect of one of opponent's special cards offensively. But the mummy may discard one brute force power card usable by the mummy to defensively negate the effect of one special card played by opponent. And this is kind of a space where we understand negates are really powerful. So you'll notice from the Merlin release, he's 21 points. He's a 7 character with a negate. So to be able to negate and offensively, we just value that as a higher card cost in our algorithm where we cost characters. The way we're able to keep the mummy low at 18 points is this: if you want to take the turn and negate something on your turn to get rid of it, like a remainder of game effect or a hit, you can do that for free. If you want to use it for defense, this particular card is going to have a cost. And you'll start to notice that that's a design space that we're in, so that you're always making a strategical decision in deck building about the cost of what you're doing. There's always like, well, I could do this and use the guy that's cheaper, but then I do have to pay a cost if I need to defensively negate something. And we think it makes deck building a lot more interesting. This is a great piece of Santos art, the Pharaoh of the 4th Dynasty. We gave you one of his 1 protects in the starter deck. Acts a level 7 energy attack. If successful, remove 1 hit from the mummy's hit to current battle or permanent record. So it's like the old 5 energies. It just comes across as a 7, but it can also get current battle if you need to remove something from the mummy, like an energy hit to keep him alive, or something that's going to count to a lot of venture. And then lastly, if you can make this picture out, it's hilarious. I love it. It's the mummy. Again, he's in like more of like an 1820s environment here. It's this version of the mummy goes through all the eras, and he's got a couple of guys with Tommy guns shooting at him as he's leaping at the car. This is a card we've all seen. It's a level 3 intelligence attack. They were level 2 in the old one, but for the mummy, we bumped it up a point. It can be made after the opponent concedes the battle. Opponent may defend. So this is just like your onslaught 2 intellect, make a after concession. It's a 3 intelligence that the mummy can make post concession. So that's his suite that we're giving you. A couple defensive cards, a couple offensive cards. We kind of kept the vanilla cards in there for the mummy. We got a little headless horseman. Now you're gonna see him. So headless horseman that we're releasing, he's had a few tweaks in playtesting. He is currently an 18-point character. Again, another 6 energy, 4 combat, 7 brute force, 2 intelligence. So great, again, great art. It was actually one of the first pieces of art we ever got finished for the set. But these darker cards are a little hard to see through the camera, but the detail on this is just really, really comes through beautifully on the printing. So I hope you can make out all these cards, because I really love this guy's card. I think we spoiled this one on one of the podcasts, but Human Spine Whip, one of the weapons in the one of the legends that we read. We did a lot of research on it. I'm actually going to go through this in a different order. So Headless Horseman has a really fun, unique mechanic that we tried to flavor. So Headless Horseman has this 1 per deck that he's kind of built around called Mark of the Headless. This is target character is -2 to attack and defend against Headless Horseman for remainder of game. If the Headless Horseman KOs the target, his team is +5 to venture total that battle. You'll kind of notice in the iconography now, some cards have a thin white line here, and then they have a symbol like the astral plane. Anytime a card has a place that it functions, and then something can trigger a separate function, in this case, KOing it then counts to venture, it would move to the astral plane. We denote that it has a second phase, so to speak, with this line and then the next symbol. So again, these symbols are going to make it really easy for you to know how to play. When you do that and you're like, oh, well, now it's counting to venture, where does it go? It's going to tell you right in those icons. But this allows the Headless Horseman to do what he does in the lore. You pick a target, he locks onto it, and he gets a huge bonus to attack and defense against that one guy. And then what you'll start to notice here is all of his other cards, if he plays it on a target that has Mark of the Headless, it gets a really juiced up ability. So this is Axis level 4 combat. If successful, opponent must discard 1 card placed or in hand of opponent's choice. If target has Mark of the Headless as a hit, the attack cannot be defended by a special. So it makes a subset of cards that you can't use to defend it. Same thing with Pumpkinhead. This is a level 6 energy attack. if just straight up level 6. This is also, you'll notice the same art from the playmat. I really love this art. Again, I don't think you're quite getting the detail, but the way this fire flickers and the different gradients and all these shadows just really look great on this cardstock. So Pumpkinhead acts at level 6 energy. If target has Mark of the Headless as a hit, if the target has it as a hit, meaning that's who you have to attack post-concession, then this can be played post-concession. So this is just a regular 6, but if they've got the mark, they've got to be careful when they concede because he can chuck this after they run away. He can throw the pumpkin at him. And then last for Headless Horseman, another one of our 4 special ones. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, yeah, but I have to get that 1/1 per deck to make it playable. So obviously Relentless Hessian, which is sort of a homage to some of the sword fighting scenes we may have seen this character in popular media. He's got a soldier he's already taken care of and 2 more that he's trying to dispatch. And if you can't see it, he's full of arrows and cuts. This is draw and reveal 1 card, may keep duplicates, so it's card neutral. And then it says you may search your draw pile or dead pile for Mark of the Headless and put it in play immediately. So even though it takes your turn, it replaces itself, so it doesn't cost you a card, and it lets you just get right back to honing in on one of those targets. And so that's kind of a real fun design space we've been in, is exploring like kind of top-down alternative functionality of a character, where this character is fine as is on his own, but you wouldn't really play, I think, a lot of these cards on their own for an 18-point cost without the ability to like mark somebody and make them better, or the mark itself. Even without these cards, the mark itself is a really powerful effect in this version of the game before the expansions are out. And now we've got one of my favorites. This is Jimbo's art. We spoiled this already in one of the Q&As, but I was really nervous how this was going to look on the card because the art is so detailed. But these pinks and blues and greens through the sky are so vibrant on the card. It looks a little dark on the podcast image. All this detail from Cthulhu. You can see every little ink stroke from the inking. There's a little cultist over here that summoned Cthulhu and the broken ships. It just looks great. So Cthulhu, same thing as the other guys. He's got a 6 energy. He's 6 energy, 1 combat, 8 brute force, 7 intelligence. He's a 22 threat. Cthulhu's kind of your big boy here. Cthulhu can play intelligence power, teamwork cards from reserve. The idea being, again, everything we do, we try to flavor. Cthulhu, a lot of times before he's summoned, is granting the knowledge of the great old ones to the cultists so they can go do things. So we wanted Cthulhu to be able to throw out teamwork cards to generate that power, as if he's granting that knowledge to the different people that are working with him. So even the subtlest things like those mechanics, we never just do it to say, hey, let's just give this guy a mechanic because then he's worth 22. Every single small thing we do because it has flavor from the lore, or we read something about it, or even sometimes, we had multiple fans telling us that they felt like the 3 Musketeers should be a 5 intelligence because, they were all trained as scholars and cartographers and a lot of different things. We went and did some research and we agreed and we bumped them up, So that's another thing too, is we want fans of this game to also be able to give feedback. We listen to it. We take it. We're not going to take it all, but we're listening, and we want you to have some agency here too. So that's your Cthulhu, your big boy. You can throw those teamworks from reserve. This starter deck, though, his intention is to be on the front line. So we will show you the big card. This has not been spoiled yet. Very fun mechanic, very flavorful. This card, as you can start to see some of the picture here, Cthulhu's over a city. His eyes are glowing. All the people's eyes are glowing. This is the call of Cthulhu. What we've done with a lot of cards, and what you'll see with this, is we looked at mechanics where we said, and I'm sure everyone does this who plays OverPower, how do we make this mechanic awesome? It's not quite playable yet in the regular set. It didn't quite cut it. How do we juice it to make it powerful? One of those mechanics is the multiple characters, like the Riptide card that says, for 1 battle, characters are -3 to venture. We said, okay, that's a cool effect, but you have to really set that up to get people to 17, multiple people if you want it to really be good. So we did a lot of different adjustments, but Cthulhu's big 1 per deck is opponent's characters, hits to KO are -5 for remainder of game, maybe played from reserve. So he takes everybody's KO threshold down by 5 while this is a hit. This stays out in the astral plane, so he drives him crazy, and just in Cthulhu fashion, killing him doesn't get rid of this. You have to use an offensive negate or a full negate. You got to use something to get rid of this. So that's the big thing those 22 points are paying for, is this big Call of Cthulhu special. Next, one of my favorite cards in any of the sets, you'll see this is called Distracting Intervention. You'll see that there's a cultist using a bunch of purple energy to help the other cultists flee. For those of you who play in the current NAOL, you'll recognize this is a Fervent Bodyguard. This is what used to be called an EB. It attaches to a character. Play this card in front of Cthulhu or teammate. For remainder of game, target character may not be attacked until this card is attacked. This card may not be defended and is KO'd after 1 hit. I'll also point out this card can also be played from reserve. Cthulhu is one of the only expensive characters we've seen that we did design him to be very playable from reserve. If you want to spend 22 of your points on your reserve character, he's definitely got some good functionality. He can throw both of those cards from reserve. This is his 3rd card, Network of Fanatics. So again, you'll see we got a bunch of Cthulhu cultists here. And this one, again, we wanted to make a way. We said, okay, he can do a couple of these things from reserve. He's influencing his people. But what's the other way Cthulhu does stuff? Cthulhu sacrifices things. So this is essentially a team coordination. Acts as a level 3 energy attack. Up to 2 frontline teammates may make an additional attack. May be played from reserve if a frontline teammate discards 1 card placed or in hand. The idea being here, Cthulhu is going to use some of his energy or grant it to a minion to use as a spell. And then his minions can make additional attacks if they sacrifice somebody. So the discarded card is supposed to represent them doing one of their ritual sacrifices to gain the power of Cthulhu. So that's going to give you some big insight into what you're getting from your front line. Those are your 4 effects that you're using on your Horror Menagerie front line. You'll notice we've got 18, 18, 22. These starter decks are not coming with home bases. Here, you know what? What am I doing? Let me spread these out so you guys can see all this great art as long as you want. Steal your screenshots if they're legible, and feel free to spread the word and post them. This is why we're doing this. I'll spread these bad boys out for you again. And then we've got my girl, Mina Harker. Just like what you're going to see on the playmats. I love this art. This is one of my favorite pieces in the set. This is one of the early ones we got from Wilton Santos when I said, oh, I'm going to like this guy. So again, all of these characters in this Horror Menagerie, we used all the brute force characters that had a subtype in energy. So this is going to also let you have it. What it let us do is use different power type power cards. So you're going to get more of a variety and get to see more of the cool art. So Mina Harker, 6262. She's an 18-point character. You'll know there was a little funny business. We intended to give Mina Harker out as the promo at Seattle, but we actually changed her cost and her inherent based on the play testing. And so we had to pull back that promo. And we're getting another promo printed. I'll talk a little bit about that promo at the end and kind of let the cat out of the bag on that too, because for those of you listening who were talking to us a lot about how to address the proxies issue, I think you'll be really happy about what the replacement Seattle promo is, and we'll probably print extra so we have them at the Boston event also. So that's Mina Harker. Mina Harker is only going to have 2 specials. She's going to have the Hunger, which is another piece of great Wilton Santos art that I love. This is a level 7 combat attack. If successful, remove 1 hit from Mina Harker's hits to current battle or permanent record. So it's really the same as Pharaohs of the 4th Dynasty. You're just getting an off power type, and it's another heal. But again, these versions of the 7, they're letting the characters heal from either one, so that if they do make these hits, that secondary utility is more likely to be able to be used. And it also gives you the flexibility. This set will have Asclepion as one of the home bases. These characters are going to have a lot of functionality with removing hits. So if you own that promo, you could immediately drop that into this deck as your home base, and you would have a couple of cards that remove hits. Next, we have a spy card. Target character must reveal any cards in hand playable by target character may be playable from reserve. This is Dracula's telepathic connection. So you recognize this card, green. It's the same as, I think it's just called Revelations. It's a classic card that was given to Green Goblin. Same card mechanic. So you'll notice in this one too, this gives you the option if you have promo cards, if you want to play 221 Baker Street as a home base with this deck, this card immediately gives you the functionality of revealing their hand and letting you discard one of those cards. So this card becomes very cool, and she can do that from reserve. She's got some other reserve functionality with other cards. She's considered to be in the reserve spot for this deck, though, so she's only going to have 2 specials. And one of them's playable, so you shouldn't have to use up the placing slot. But that's your characters and that's your specials, guys. I'm going to run through these a little faster just to give you guys a great kind of sneak peek at the art. So we teased one of these, but we've got an amazing artist that's done a bunch of great work. He did a lot of the Dracula specials we've spoiled. So we've got 4 mission sets we've announced. This mission set, which is The Call of Cthulhu. So we'll go through this this one is just the first short story, and it's a bunch of the story beats in that. I loved that story as a kid, and a bunch of my friends in college were obsessed with the role-playing game. And so I really followed up and got into this lore. So this first one, Dreams of Men, is actually kind of a little homage. It's not technically in the story, but the author himself at one point had done interviews saying he had a dream about the Cthulhu statue that's throughout the story, and he was trying to sell it to a person at a museum, and they wouldn't take it. And that's sort of, in his mind, canon to what leads into the story. So your first mission card has that on it. One of the things we said where we're not finished yet, we didn't have the regular Cthulhu backs ready yet, so we'll ignore the backs. But this is where these are going to get a lot better designed and better typed. But we've got the fronts for the demos and for the review copies. So we've got the Call of Cthulhu here for that one. We've got the professor working in he's found one of the people that died, and he's trying to research through all the professor's research. That's the beginning of the short story. We've got this flashback to 1908 where they were going through the legend of Cthulhu. We've got in the short story, there's a police raid where some of the cultists are like worshiping and doing sacrifices. Then there's the big flashback to where the statue first came from, where they found a ship where everyone was slaughtered, and there was one survivor who told the story of a gigantic sea monster that killed everybody and almost killed him, and they took the statue from the island where he woke up. This is the same person going in, getting the statue from the widow of the guy from the boat. And then at the very end of the story, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, a lot of the regular people he's interacting with, turns out they were cultists, and he goes through the alley at the wrong time, and it's insinuated heavily that he's killed. That's your mission set for your first 7. All right, now we will just go through some of the power cards. So I think we've spoiled this. So we have a mix of original Joe Jesco art and, of course, some of the borrowed Joe Jesco art. So this is not one of the originals. We don't have that in yet, but this is a piece we love. It's Tarzan, and you can see these mini people. This is from one of the old Tarzan books. They're all attacking them. It's very Gulliver's Travel inspired, this old Tarzan story. You can see they've got cute little fawns and mini deer that they're riding. But that's your 1 combat. So we got a couple of those. And then we've got your 1 intelligence, which is just a invisible man losing a couple of old Bobby police officers. Kind of, sort of, geez, I'm talking a lot. We are definitely mixing some of that grim fairy tale element into the game as well. Not as heavily as the horror and the gods, but it's in there a little bit. This is our version of Captain Nemo standing in the rain with his sword. So you'll notice him throughout the set. Interesting fact about our Medusa. You heard me talk last week. Medusa is one of the original characters that we ended up cutting. So she was on the list.
The card's a little bit to the right.
Here?
No, left.
So I'm getting a little.
Left. No, left. Sorry.
This way?
No, right. There. That's the middle.
This right here. All right. I'm going to try to keep these in the middle, guys. So Medusa was actually on the docket to be one of the characters for the set. She didn't quite make the cut, even though she had a lot of really cool pinning mechanics that we were working on. But you're going to get 3 of those 3 energies. You've all seen this, but again, I just can't tell you enough how much this detail shows up. All these little reflecting lines, these light outlines, the explosions. God, these people's art just looks so good on these cards. This is Daniel Maya. He's only done a few pieces. If you're there. We've only got a few pieces from Daniel so far, but Daniel, if you're listening, man, your stuff looks great on these cards. So, you know, come on back. He's been super busy with some other projects, and we're trying to get him back in to do at least 3 or 4 more pieces for us. But we love this Billy the Kid art. So that's our 4 energies are going to be the same. And then the mummy himself in his own deck. I love this piece. This one I don't think is going to come across, but all this darkness is scarabs. Actually, sorry, this is a horde of locusts that he's bringing in. So it looks like there's some black clouds, but then when you look at the detail, it's just a whole swarm of locusts. And we're sort of representing, this mummy has some of the magical abilities and curses. We're representing that through his energy stat, his ability to summon these type of things. So that's your 5 energy. And then we've got Cthulhu. So this is your 6 brute force. This one, again, you'll see we've got some cool stuff down here. Cthulhu, I think we spoiled this one at one point. Cthulhu's having a battle here with Poseidon and Zeus to give you an idea of the scale of ours. So our Cthulhu in our lore, what you find out is the time traveler thinks he caused the gods to return because of his dabbling in time travel, and he thought he offended them. But come to find out, Cthulhu is a titan from the old war with the gods, with Zeus's father, and they actually came back because the humans were summoning him, and they were offended that that was happening. So, little twist: Cthulhu is really the main baddie because he's going to come back and do Cthulhu things and wreak some havoc. So we've got a couple of those in 6 brute force, and then we also gave you this beautiful piece of art. This is a Morgan Le Fay art for the 6 energy. So just absolutely gorgeous coloring on this one. We've got some great colorists. I give a lot of props to our artists, but I can't say enough going through this process for the first time, how much a colorist really elevates a piece of art. They are the unsung heroes of this this entire medium. It's really amazing the difference if you put the same piece of art colored differently side by side, the amount that good color can elevate it. This is Headless Horseman. This is Wilton Santos. He did our 7 brute force. Beautiful piece of art. You're going to see this. I believe this is on one of our sleeves. So you guys will be able to get some sleeves that have this art on it if you so desire. Yeah, not much to say, but pretty cool that there's art with most of the characters from this deck. And then this has not been released, but you're going to start to learn some stats. It's also important to us that all the characters can play the power cards that they're on. So one of our 8 brute forces in the stat is our Hercules, the demigod himself, Hercules. And that's a piece, I believe that's Elton Thomasai art. That one I'm not 100% sure on, but so don't quote me, but I think that's Thomasai. But whatever it is, it's a really fantastic 8. We've got some great, you can see the Mount Olympus in the background, and he's ready for battle. Fan favorite in the playtesting. People really like Hercules in the playtesting. Yeah, I think he's going to do great. Ron, I just got a beep. I'm not sure if it's my headset. Might be a battery on my headset. If you guys are still hearing me, though, we're going to keep going.
I hear you. So you're good.
Fantastic. This is Jane Porter and her father when they first get to the island to discover Tarzan. This is an ally card. We did a whole thing on these, but you'll notice the ally cards have the new layout. So all damage in the game is in the top left corner now. So to use goes underneath it. You'll notice over here, cards like allies have the first icon. So when you teach new players, it's really easy to understand. Certain cards have to be the very first card you play on your turn. So if you play like a heal and then draw one off Asclepion, you can't then throw it. So that iconography is going to make all of this functionality more. This one, Edward Panseca, really love his art. He actually did both of these. This is Guy of Gisborne, who's with the Sheriff of Nottingham. Same idea. You see him. He's really nice painting here that Panseca did. And this one's been great too, is really trying to take these artists and put their styles in with the characters we think lends itself well. You know, I really love what Kuber did with most of the Headless Horseman art, and I love what Panseca did with these paintings for some of the kind of older traditional characters like Billy the Kid. So that's that ally card. If you can see me here, I'm going to get a little juice here, and then we're going to go to our basic universes. So we've got some hide serum here. You may recognize this style. This is the Gonzo Man himself, who did our art in the original packs. So that's a woman who's got her hands on some hide serum. She's chosen to drink it. It's going to give her a boost to a brute force attack. And you can see the little ghost of hide in the back kind of grinning. So that's your 6+2. Your 6+3 is a trident that you find on the ground, which is going to give you a nice boost to an attack. We're assuming it's Poseidon's trident here. Or it's a trident from somebody of the Atlanteans, granting some additional power. Same idea. And then we've got our 7+3. This one's pretty basic, but a great piece of art. This is a trebuchet. So that's for more when you're trying to generate the brute force. This is more for like the Sheriff of Nottingham's men when they're generating the brute force to sack an entire city. As we've said, you know, our approach, we thought brute force was a more interesting stat and gave us more latitude when we decided to change things if it represented more like big groups of people being able to generate force as well. We've got a couple of training cards for you. So we got a little bit of Merlin training Arthur action here. Pretty straightforward. Combat energy. We've got Cthulhu's training up some of his cultists here. So you can see a little vague Cthulhu-esque monster with the tentacles, and the cultists are all chanting, pulling him out of the portal. And these ones are interesting. So these are the events. I'm not going to go too far into these. So the art is finalized on these events, but ignore most of the text. So these are the 3 events, and I'll tell you what they do. This is one of the examples of a visual element that's not finalized at all. What was that, Ronald?
A little bit lower and to the right.
All right. So we've got 3 cool pieces of events here that go along with the Call of Cthulhu. And so I'll just read you what they do. So we're trying to not make any what we call Bet 7 events. This is great art. This is PJ Kawawa did these. I really love the drawings. So we are going to do Call of Cthulhu has hits with an intelligence icon. Do not count to venture total this battle. We're going to adjust the camera here a little bit, guys, and see if that helps. Hits with an intelligence icon do not count to venture total this battle. This is sort of our idea where there's events that have dinged power types, but it made cards wholly unusable. We don't really want to go that direction, but we can make them not count to venture. You still have the option to KO with them and do things to create pressure. So it leaves a lot of options for the player, and that's really that's the agency we want to give players. That is the real art. You'll also notice for us, a lot of the old games either had a computer or a newspaper article here. All of our events and a lot of our theme, these are going to be journal entries from the time travelers. Same with the events. So it's going to say like time traveler's journal, a desperate gamble. They gain, I'll read you the flavor text on one. They gain power far beyond mortal man, but they pay no heed to the price they may be forced to pay. The power fades quickly, but the damage will last a lifetime. And you'll notice the text is kind of themed. It'll look a lot better. We're going to have this look like an old parchment. But the text on this one is, each player may choose one of their frontline characters to gain +2 to all actions this battle. If chosen, that character is -4 to cumulative KO this battle. And that sort of pairs with the Call of Cthulhu. If he puts the call out and then you want to do this, it might be harder for the other player to take advantage of it because then their characters are KO'd with 11 hit points. So it gives you some strategy with characters that you include that are thematic with their events. The stars align. This is more of a kind of a control one. So each player looks at the top 2 cards of their draw pile. For each card, you may choose to shuffle it into the deck, discard it into the dead pile, or keep it on top of the deck. So it lets you take 2 cards and sort of mitigate what happens with those cards. This one's a little more of a, I think both players, whenever I've played this one, have been pretty happy to see it. So it just kind of lets you mitigate a little variance in your deck. So just kind of a little simpler one. And that, guys, that's what you get with Horror Menagerie. This is one of the 58 card starters. Question that might come up about these. We're not sure yet. We're trying to see if we can print the universe cards to be like the old ones on the harder cardstock, higher gloss. They will definitely still have the round cut corners like this. That's just how they do it now. It's too much of a pain to change it. But we're not 100% that they'll be the same cardstock. We still might be able to get it on this cardstock. We're doing a consultation with Cardamundi now to see if that's possible. But they actually look really beautiful on this flat, smooth cardstock anyway. So yeah. So either way, I'm pretty happy with that. So guys, take kind of your last big gander here at this one, and I'll try to get everything on camera at once. And then I'm going to go over to Ungodly Powers. And Ronald, I'm kind of just talking here, but how's everything going? Everybody feeling good? Everybody seeing this?
Yeah, everything's going well.
All right, I'm hearing from the booth that stuff's going great. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up, and let's get over to our main antagonist in the story, Ungodly Power, which is an energy deck involving Zeus. All right, so let's wrap these guys up. We'll get our mummy cards over here. Guys, if any of you are at New York Comic-Con, please come down to New York Comic-Con and do a demo with these two decks. If you pledge a tier and you show us at New York Comic-Con, you get that Witchblade exclusive card. If you just stop by the booth, do a demo, chat with us, you're probably going to be able to get your hands on one of the Leonidas promos that we're doing. But the Witchblade one, that's the exclusive that we're never going to repeat that art in any of the cards. So the only way you're ever going to get that version of that Witchblade hero is to come see us at New York Comic-Con. Not available anywhere else. As we're seeing too with the exclusivity, even cards that we put out like the 5 multi and the original power card pack that we did, that thing is shot up. That thing's going for over $100 at this point. A lot of those cards in that original pack have shot up. I mean, that pack's easily $500 in value at this point, which we never expected. That's crazy to me. But it just goes to show you that our model of collectability through alternative art is completely viable. So we hope that you guys anybody who's coming to New York Comic-Con, feel free to pledge, because I have a feeling that Witchblade card is going to go for a lot of money, because I don't think there's going to be a ton of those that exist out there in the world. So and it's Witchblade, which, everybody wants that.
Take a moment.
Yep. We're going to take a quick pause here while I get this deck open.
What happened?
Oh, we're just off camera. Sorry, guys.
No. You're still on camera on the main camera.
Oh, I'm still on camera on the main camera.
Yeah.
We're still getting used to this, guys. We're getting better every week. All right. So Ronald's going to get this camera back up here. Oh, we've got my other angle. There we go. All right, he's going to jump back in there. I'm still peeling stickers off here. So this is the Ungodly Powers. And again, review copies, guys, not final. So the front is pretty close to what you're going to get. Your big picture is Zeus. You'll recognize that from the level 8 power card. I love that picture. That is, again, the Gonzo man himself, who did a lot of our original art. He did this beautiful art on the playmat here. Zeus, we got the idea very early on that we wanted to use him. Just lends himself really well to an energy stat. Wrap around art on the sides. You'll have your Edgar Rice Burroughs and the World Legends called out on top. Big shout out to them. What a great partnership to work with. Chris, Jim, Kathy, everybody that we've worked with over at Edgar Rice Burroughs is awesome. We love talking to them. They get so excited about the art that we show them. So if you guys are watching, thanks very much. It's been a real pleasure. And we look forward to finishing up everything with the set with you. I'll read the goofy little the text now, the placeholder text. Zeus has returned to the realm of man. Centuries ago, Zeus gathered the remaining gods of the earth and formed a pact. Content to let the race of man bear its own fruit or rot on the vine, the gods departed earth and returned to their respective realms, never to influence the events of our realm again. But man has decided to tamper with powers it was never meant to wield. Zeus has broken the god pact and has returned to earth determined to rule those who remain with an iron fist and bolts of lightning. Let's go take a look at those bolts of lightning. Another wonderful art. This is by Iguara. Tell me if I'm getting that. Is that a good distance, Ronald?
Yeah.
This is our big boy. This is our 23-pointer in the set. Currently, only one 23-pointer in the set, but there's another character that's going back and forth on playtesting. He may not be the only god in the set that's that much, but he's our big 23-pointer. He is an 8/3/6/5. He has two kind of inherents in one. He can keep one duplicate of his Thunderbolt special, hugely powerful inherent, as you'll see in a minute. But then he's also got a bad one, which is he may not play energy teamwork cards. Zeus is kind of jealous, wants to do everything himself. He is not a great team player. Not to say he won't sometimes be part of it, but he won't play them himself. So let's go look at a few cards here. So that's Zeus. Zeus, I'm actually going to show you his lightning bolt first, because that's his big card. So Zeus is one of the few characters in the game that only has 5 specials. So you're going to get 4 of them in your starter deck. There'll be 1 of them in the uncommon slot. Zeus is only going to have his 5 cards. He's not going to have a card in the uncommon slot. So when you see Zeus on the table, that's a choice. You're just going to go into Zeus. You won't have a 6th card in the uncommon slot during draft. So you've got to make the choice. But also in our draft mode, threat value doesn't count. So you may want to just get in there and get this 9 at a non-1 per deck level. So Zeus has this card. You'll recognize this if you know the Marvels cards. Acts as a level 9 energy attack. If successful, Zeus and Zeus's teammates may not defend Zeus with special cards for remainder of game. Attack, but it can make the person really glass cannony. So Zeus, when he's summoning and chucking a bunch of lightning bolts, he ends up exposing himself a little bit. So how does he protect himself? Well, this fantastic piece of art, another Elton Thomaside piece. This is Hera. Hera comes in. This card you're going to recognize, very similar to like a Stars and Garters mechanic, if you're familiar with that card, or an EB mechanic from the original game. For remainder of game, all numerical attacks made against Zeus are shifted to Hera. Hera is discarded after taking 10 damage, so numerical damage. Hera may not be defended and attacks do not count to venture. This card may not be negated. So this does multiple things. It shifts all the numerical attacks to her. So it's not just absorbing 10 points in damage, but it's also protecting him from that spectrum KO. But it's only numerical hits. He can still be targeted with non-numerical cards and those kind of effects. But this has a remainder of game effect that paper clips to him. So when Hera comes out there to protect him, you can't negate it. Now, you can still use a card that says, get rid of something that has a remainder of game effect. It used to be coded as a KL. You'll notice there's more effects like that in the game. But again, gorgeous piece of art. I just really can't thank Joe Prado in his studio enough. I can't thank Kirby Comics enough. Gonzo Man's got us some great pieces. Thank you, Gonzo. Really awesome artist we've been blessed to work with. I really love this piece. I think this is one of the pieces, I'll tell you, the coloring. You're not even doing it justice. There's so much detail on these reflections in this light. This is Zeus, presumably watching over one of his many kids and getting jealous like he does. It's a jealous god. Choose a power grid. Target character has higher than Zeus. Target is -2 to all attacks of that power grid for remainder of game. Discard when Zeus is KO'd. May not target a character with a jealous god on his record. So if you're throwing it on a Hercules, for example, somebody he might be jealous of, brute force is the stat you could call. Brute force is going to be for the rest of the game -2 when he activates it to throw an attack. So a teamwork attack, a power card attack, a special that has that if it goes through that grid as a power card. But yeah, that's all. These rules will be laid out in the rule book. I've been talking a lot. If I say something not 100% true on the rules, don't shoot the messenger, because it's a lot of talking in a row, even for me. Banishment, another great piece of art. You'll see if you can make it out in what he's banishing here is the Minotaur horns and a Minotaur snout. This is a 1 per deck, and since he's got less cards, we wanted to give him a little more utility. So Either target character may not attack for remainder of battle. Great, super strong 1 per deck. But we also gave him utility. Or opponent may discard all placed ally cards and is -3 to venture total this battle. Zeus's choice. Probably going to use the first part of it most of the time. But if you happen to play somebody who's leaning really hard into allies, this was kind of thematic for like the storyline of what we're doing of Zeus. Like the way he's going to deal in the storyline with some of the other characters is he's going to just banish him to different planes. So that's your big boy Zeus. That's your 23-pointer. Some fantastic art, some great coloring. It's really can't wait for you guys to get these in hand or come see us at New York Comic Con. Now we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum, which is a fun character. We needed to also represent the 16-point slot, which is currently our range is 16-point threat to 23-point threat. Now, a few of you caught this in some of the previews. The starter deck's going to have the Angry Mob, the Middle Ages Angry Mob. This character is a max 6 character at 16 points. There's 6 energy, 4 combat, 6 brute force, 1 intelligence. Oh, I didn't call out the stats. Sorry. In case you couldn't make them out, I think you could. Zeus is 8 energy, 3 combat, 6 brute force, 6 intelligence. So this one's going to also have some brute force backups in it, but it's going to be leaning more toward the energy side. These guys, since they're a big mob of people, we gave them 25 hits to cumulative KO. So if they're getting attacked with those single color attacks, they've got a little bit more. But where we had so many monsters, as you kind of went through, and if I would have read the flavor text on the Horror Menagerie, we just sort of thought this was a fun way to represent a group of people with the brute force, like burning things down, shooting the, if they get the catapults and they're shooting the flaming balls over the wall, kind of a way to represent a group of people and represent this new brute force stat of ours in a fun way that's pretty on theme with the set that we're doing that has a little bit of its toe dipped in the monster world. And we tried to really theme some of their mechanics. I personally really like this one. So as you can see, this is a group of them swarming a Minotaur. This card you might recognize as Atlas. It's a similar mechanic to that. Target character may only attack this special for remainder of battle until this special is attacked by target character or teammate. This special may not be defended and is KO'd after 1 hit. Angry Mob can keep a duplicate of this. So they can kind of duplicate this up and tie multiple people up at once and force you to spend an attack attacking them. And as you know, if you've played this game with regular EBs that go on even just defending your characters, this can be a super annoying effect if you only have attacks left of like 4 or greater numerical value because they don't count to venture. So that's one of their mechanics is they can kind of keep some dupes of that. They can overpower. Historical note, Atlas, the original version of this, was actually designed by BMG founder Keith Bursack for the classic set. Next, we've got a 2 multi, Don't Let It Get Away. It's a 2 multi power attack that ignores opponents' special cards that are already in play. So if somebody tries to do a lockout or something, you can still target them with this 2. A vanilla 4 make an additional attack, really cool piece of art. This is a little bit of a modern mob like during a riot. And then we've got one of the 1 per decks, which is Pitchforks and Torches. Acts as a level 7 multi-power attack. If successful, target character may not play special cards for remainder of battle. So again, just a lower threshold for damage and to block, but some powerful secondary effects when they hit. So that's your Angry Mob. You're going to notice here, one of the cards we revealed, I think it might be the very first pieces of art we revealed, our Wicked Witch Hero card. And what you'll notice is we've done a little extra due diligence just to make sure it's clear to people. We have here the Wicked Witch from the book. You'll notice a lot of elements about the Wicked Witch that are specifically from the book. She's got a patch over it because she has 1 eye. She rides an umbrella, not a broom. In the book, which I think is scarier, she didn't use flying monkeys. She used the animals. So she had black bees, crows, wolves. So she's got some crows flying with her. You'll notice her skin's not green. So this is we're telling the book version of the story where she's definitely a little scarier and not kind of as fun as the kind of for kids movie version of the old one. It's a little more gritty. But again, just a wonderful piece of art with crazy detail through all these trees. He's really taken the time to draw every little leaf and yeah, just one of the really great pieces of art we've gotten from Santos. This is one of the first ones he ever did for us too, along with the Mina Harker. So we really like that. And then you'll notice some really cool pieces of art. So again, we've got, Dorothy from the book here with her plaid yellow dress. She's still scared of water. So this is no universe card attacks may be made against Wicked Witch for remainder of battle, a little mini lockout. But Dorothy's got that bucket of water that she doesn't like. So she's going to steer clear of that. Great piece of art. This one, I don't think the detail is going to come out on this one, but this is feared by other witches. Acts as a level 4 energy attack. If successful, Wicked Witch may not be attacked for remainder of battle. She's fighting a good witch here, but there's just really beautiful, super detailed effects on these green energy explosions. I think we've shared this one before publicly, but this witch has an energy shield that she's kind of blasting through with this like really pretty purple stuff. We've got a gorgeous night sky there. Again, just really top-notch detail on these cards. So that's one of the Wicked Witch ones. And then she's only got 3 cards. This is a fun effect that we have. So one of our things we talked about in different podcasts and different interviews is ways to make old cards useful without just telling people they work differently. We don't want to make players have to memorize different rules. We want to just find mechanics that make it worth the choice to put a card in. Wicked Witch has target character must discard a place card of Wicked Witch's choice, but if successful, she can go search her dead pile for a basic universe card, reveal it to opponent, and put it in hand. So what that means is you can risk it and play a couple basic universes, because once you get it, she's going to have the ability to keep fishing it out. And they're very strong once they're in your hand if they don't take up a card slot to have to draw them. We've also seen, if you want, she's 19 points. Her stats are 8 energy, 3 combat, 2 brute force, 3 intelligence. You can play the Dracula's Armory, which will be released in this set, which it takes 3 threat to play it, but it allows you to start with basic universe cards placed to it. That combo is very well with this. We've seen in playtest where she uses one of those, and then these start to let her get them out, so she'll have access to 2 basic universes per hand. And you'll see this is her. It's represented for her trying to get the silver shoes, which in the book is what they are. They're silver, not ruby. Do you want me to use that? Sure, I'll try to use. We're gonna try to do a little box here to see if it helps me.
Maybe it's a little.
Yeah, no, it might be good. All right, guys. Then we have some of the art I'm really excited to show you. So we've got Deja Thoris. So I'll show you the special first, actually, because you've already seen this art. And it, I mean, Philip Tan, it just doesn't get better than Philip Tan art. He's, there's just nothing bad I can say about any of the sketches I've seen. We were really lucky to get him. He's a big name in comics. He's doing 20 pieces for this set. So you're going to get to see some really cool versions of the characters with this Philip Tan art. This is the first piece we got for him. I don't know. I say this a lot. Maybe my favorite piece of art so far in the set, but I really like it. This is Deja Thoris. She's got a big defensive card. This is, she can avoid 1 attack, and the opponent's turn immediately ends. So one of the things we're doing in the way we've reduced some of the art, in the way we've reduced some of the full team defense, you're not going to see as many negates, as many 9 or less avoids. It's a little more niche defense, or you have to kind of build around your defense more. When we do give out a big 1 per deck avoid like this, you'll see more ways to kind of stop the chains. So if somebody's going to do 6 attacks in a row, you've got a way to do interrupt. You can interrupt the chains, and that's kind of a way to defend on your own, because then you get a chance to punch back. So that's her big defensive card. And then we've got a second piece of Philip Tan art displaying here. This is its debut. So this is our Deja Thoris hero card. So Deja is a 17-point character. She's got a 6 energy, a 6 combat, a 2 brute force, and a 3 intelligence. Fan favorite, Deja Thoris. She's got a really cool avoid. I'll also let the cat out of the bag. She's got a draw 3. And she's the only character in the set that just gets a vanilla draw 3. There's another character that has a version of one. And there's another character that has a different version of a way to do it, but she just has a vanilla draw 3 cards. So she's less expensive, but she's a max 6, but she's got a couple of bomb 1 per deck. So that's kind of what she's bringing to the table. And I really hope the details on this come through, because this battle axe and the way all the reflections, the tiny little dots all through here to reflect all the light, just wow. Philip Tan really outdid himself on that one. So, all right. And now we've got some Joe Jesko art. You've got Beasts of Tarzan. So, and these are also, your mission cards are numbered in chronological order for where the books came out. Now there's books in between some of these, but these are just some of our favorite books and favorite pieces. So that's Tarzan with all his friends. I love this piece. I spoiled this on the podcast a few weeks back, but Tarzan and the Golden Lion. You can see all of Tarzan's allies and animals. They're chasing this giant ape here. We've got Tarzan at the center core, at the Earth's core. This is him with one of the dinosaurs down there. And, you know, as Tarzan's to do, he's wounded, he's cut up, but he's got his knife out. And even as those hungry dinosaurs below are trying to eat him, he's still fighting that pterodactyl. Tarzan in the City of Gold. Again, just, you can never go wrong with Jesko paintings. Tarzan's Quest. And then the last one, Tarzan and the Castaways. So again, guys, I hope you're loving this art. You know, it's really our goal to bring you guys cards that every single card you look at, you're just going to say, wow. Like, you know, they really push the envelope on art every chance they got. We're going to go through these a little faster, both for time and because you just get to see a lot of these. These two decks have a lot of crossovers. So again, we've got the same one, but you'll notice this one, you've got one of those, and then you've got two of the intelligence with the Invisible Man ones. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Same thing, you've got a 2 combat here, and you've got 2 of our Captain Nemo 2 intelligence cards here. Here's a new one. So this is a Brute Squad. So this kind of represents when they go a little bit further in time in our lore, the time traveler. You'll notice some of the things that we do in this game. You'll notice that our Dr. Watson is a big fan of the Tommy gun. Well, if you study history at all, you'll know that the Tommy gun's not invented till around, I want to say, 1920. And the late 1800s is where Dr. Watson is from. And our version, when the idea is we're going to do a comic at some point. I hope this isn't pie in the sky because I got all the ideas in my head. The time traveler is going to bring weapons back from these people. And so part of where he gets it from is these World War I rifles. We've got a new power card for you here. This is our 4 brute force. This is a fun one. It's Hyde trying to get away through town. He's leaping over a bunch of, automobiles on the street. There's a lot of lights behind him. We're not really sure what's chasing him. Is it a god? Is it the time traveler's time machine? But that'll give you an idea of our 4 brute force. That's a really cool picture. Again, coloring on that one, really out of this world. Okay, I'm just gonna ditch this then. All right, so then we've got Joan of Arc. So I'm being told to try to do it a little lower, so it's in focus here. So this is Joan of Arc with her sigil. She's just leading a bunch of people. If we haven't announced this yet, Joan of Arc is one of the characters in our set. She's an intelligence-based character, and we're representing a lot of her battlefield strategy and her divine intelligence, where she gets the visions as her intelligence stat. So she's a very kind of numerical modifier-based character with a few attacks, but she's really more about buffing your team and protecting your team and kind of running the battlefield the same way that Joan of Arc's, visions were credited for helping her people win a lot of battles. So she's somebody. And then we've got another classic here. I don't think we spoiled this. This is our 5 brute force, a great piece of Joe Jesko painting. We've got John Carter here over one of the classic green Martians that he's slain. We've got the beautiful moons of Barsoom behind him. Absolutely gorgeous piece of art here. I love everything Jesko does. I hope you're getting sick of hearing me talk about how beautiful these things are. This is Captain Nemo off in the distance, and these pirates are kind of freaking out. And this is where we're starting to try to combine this. So this, if you notice with the earring, is supposed to be Captain Hook, and he's coming up against the other kind of owner of the sea with the Nautilus, a much better ship than the Captain Hook ship. And he's kind of standing on top of it, and the pirates freaking out. So you'll start to notice in some of the art as you open the set, we're kind of doing the same thing and having fun with the lore where there's a little more character crossover. I love this piece. Our 6 energy Morgan Le Fay that you got to see before. Again, a very highly detailed piece of art. We've got 2 of those. We've got our 6 brute force Cthulhu art here with his big battle with the 2 gods. Now we're going to get to do some art that you guys haven't seen yet. So our level 7 art, I would say maybe the most popular character so far in the pre-test. We've got a great piece of art here of Poseidon for our 7 energy coming up out of the water and using the water. Really like that a lot. I really think our colorist just did such a great job with the water. Both pieces so far we've seen for Poseidon have been wonderful. So we've got 3 of those, and then I don't know. I got a lot of favorites in this set, but it doesn't get much better than this one. Another Iguara classic. This guy, I just can't say enough good stuff about this art. He's been really knocking it out of the park constantly. So you're about to see the premiere of our 8 energy. I don't believe we've spoiled this. Maybe I have. I'm so bad about it, I forget. But this is Ra the Sun God, who is also a playable character in our set. So we do have kind of an Egyptian theme with some of the Egyptian stuff. So we've got Ra, we've got the mummy. And this one, the fire effects on this are so cool. You can see like all the debris as the fire's kind of wrecking the buildings in the back. And he's got, just kind of a swirl of this, but there's real great detail all through here of the tornado that he's causing. And then same with Ra himself through here. So I love this 8 power card. I think it might be, I don't know. I go back and forth between this one and Gonzo's 8, which one I like better. But this one's really cool. So that's going to be your standard 8 power card that you get throughout the set. So you're going to get 3 of those. And pointing out, like with the old starter decks, we're not giving you like 1 8 to go chase it. We want you guys to be able to play somewhat real games with foundational cards right from the start, and then just be able to add in as you get. If you open a pack and get another character with 5 specials, you can slap them down here and have a pretty good base of power cards to use. We'll run you through some of these. So we've got fan favorite Victory Harbin, Hucklebuck. So this is if you read the Victory Harbin books or you follow Edgar Rice Burroughs, super powerful character. He's got a little cute version of it. He obviously turns into this big monster when he needs to fight or do defense. But that's a real fan favorite from the Edgar Rice Burroughs verse. We, of course, can't have the gods without the Hera, one of the most important gods in the old mythology. Here's Hera in her kind of Wonder Woman inspired self, where she's got the shield, she's got the spear, and she's taking on the Hydra here. So that's her. Awesome. Great colors. This is, we're getting now, those are the 2 allies. We're going to get to some basics. So we've got some Joe Jesco art here. We wanted to represent some of this art through all the power types. This is just a ray gun. And, a lot of these guys, the ray guns just don't affect yet. So this is just a 6+2. But we've got a great piece from Joe Jesco of a guy with a ray gun on a planet shooting some tiger-like creature. So this is a painting of his. I just really like it. This is one of the earlier pieces that we did. This is the Magic Wand. So this is your 6+3 basic universe card. And again, these are able to be used with Dracula's Armory, where you're going to be able to put multiples of these underneath it. Characters will be able to access those as long as you pay the 3 threat cost for having that as your home base. So that is Merlin's wand. Obviously, characters can get empowered by Zeus and wield Zeus's lightning bolt. 7 energy to use, but it'll give you a +3 to one of your energy attacks. And there's Zeus up there looking down on one of these King Arthurian knights that he's inspired. So again, a little bit of the mixing of the genres with our stuff. And another character we are going to spoil here, if you don't know this yet, Lancelot, teaching his squire for a training card. Lancelot is a playable character in our set. So I think we've spoiled Merlin. If you can't guess, King Arthur's in the set. Lancelot's in the set, and Morgan Le Fay is in the set. So that's our kind of Camelot corner of the set. So this is another one by Edward Panseca. And again, He does these hand-painted ones, which I just don't think this video is coming close to doing him justice. He's got reflections all painted in through all of this metal of Lancelot's hair. He's got super detail of the authentic kind of period armor here. Just fabulous card, really cool art. And then we've got one last training card. We've just got Leonidas here training his Spartans, and I'm pretty sure we've talked a bit already about Leonidas. Leonidas is in the game. Leonidas is one of our 8 combat characters. I'll spoil that, let that cat out of the bag. Very geared around direct offense and defense, but has ways to build up his team's defense for the course of the game. Kind of one of those characters that the idea is you need to attack him, because if you leave him alone and let him build up, he gets bigger and bigger, and he already doesn't start too shabby. So, and then we've got our Tarzan mission. So this is another example. We can ignore the text and ignore the names of these ones. Tarzan of the Jungle is the name of the mission set, but the flavor text was for different pictures we didn't end up going with. So in this one, the flavor text doesn't line up exactly, because we thought we found ones and bits of the story that fit better. So I'll just read through these quick. This is challenge for leadership currently, but the name will most likely change. A character on your team with the highest threat value is -2 to defense this battle. In the case of a tie, the opponent chooses the character on your team. That's one of the pieces. Next event, all any power icons become brute force icons this battle. This is a fun one. Now, this is all of them. They may be in your hand. They may be on the table. They may be follow-ups to teamwork cards if you're playing any power teamwork cards. If there is an any power icon on a card, for this battle, it functions as a brute force icon. That might affect your ability to play teamworks. It might make your teamworks way better for a battle. It could make a hit that's on a character immediately kill a character. So something to keep in mind if you see him playing the Tarzan mission set. And then we've got this one kind of goes along with some of these ones that we have. If you have a special card that negate cards offensively, it may negate opponent's special cards defensively at no cost for this battle. So as you saw with the Mummy card, one of the reasons I wanted to do that deck first. Oh, I'm sucking all these cards up onto my elbows here. Sorry. So for example, the Mummy card where you have to spend a brute force power card to use it defensively. If you're using the Tarzan mission set, those negates that have a cost, they're free to use for the one battle where you get this. So it helps give those negates a little more utility, gives you a little more design space. So again, with the events, we're trying to go with stuff that's worth playing, but we don't want events to pop up and be completely game breaking. But there are some with some pretty powerful effects, like not counting intelligence icons to venture for a battle. That's a big effect. But as we told you before, one of the main mechanics that's going to be on the Time Traveler is that he can negate the effects of event cards. Something we think is going to be popular in this set a little bit, but also mechanics that we have an eye towards the Golden Age as well. And I think you'll see a lot of play from the Time Traveler in the Golden Age environment where you have far more powerful events. It's the first way to really consistently interact with him at a non-1 per deck level, and that card for him doesn't take up a placing slot. But as far as this starter deck, guys, I'm going to set these out in a place where I think you can basically see everything. I think you guys got a pretty good view. So this is your Ungodly Powers. This is only 57 cards. As I said, the last card for Deja Thoris isn't included. Honestly, I'm getting a little tired at this point, so I don't remember off the top of my head exactly which special it was that we're including. But there's another special card that's going to be for her in this deck. And that's your 2 starter decks. Now, we did get a lot of requests from people wanting to know what's in all the starter decks. I know we're launching in a few hours, so I'm not going to go card by card like this, but I'm going to pop over to my sheet here because I remember, but I want to just always check from the sheet, so I don't want anyone to make a purchase and have me not be completely right. But let me pop open my little starter deck spreadsheet here, and I am going to spoil for you guys the other starter decks. So we have the Resistance. That is our combat-based starter deck. And that's going to have Zorro. Zorro is one of your 8 combat characters in the set. So he's going to be your 8. It's going to have John Carter of Mars, the 3 Musketeers, and your reserve character will be Billy the Kid. That's kind of your big thing. I'm not going to go super far into the stats. But you've seen the 3 Musketeers. John Carter is actually a 7 brute force with a 6 combat. So he kind of functions a little more like a max 6 character in this build, but you'll see when you open it, he's got some great cards that support the rest of the team. So it is kind of a choice of if you're going for him in that starter deck build or not. Kind of the same thing though. These are all designed to be 58 point decks. 58 card decks. You'll see a bigger variety in the power cards over there. These two kind of share a similar card pool, which is why we printed them first. It was a lot less art that we had to get ready to rush these into production for the demos and the review copies. You'll notice you'll see a lot more of the higher combat cards in this other one. So and we've got some. I love the 7 combat. There's a King Arthur 7 combat. If you guys are on, did I make it my Discord picture? I made it my picture for one of the platforms we interact on. But that is the Resistance. Second is going to be, the last one, the intelligence-based one. No shock here. It's called the Time Detectives. We love the Time Traveler. We're really hyping him up. He's our protagonist. The Time Traveler is in the set. But that set's also going to give you Victory Harbin, who we talked about. Huge character from Edgar Rice Burroughs. We just love that character. She's your reserve character. She's a very, very good functional reserve character. She actually gives you a tiny bit of defense from reserve, but she gives you other ways where you can discard intelligence power cards to do certain things from reserve. She's been one of the most popular reserve characters that we've seen in the playtest. She has some very cool effects, very thematic from the books. If you read the books, if you're an ERB fan. We've got Sherlock Holmes. He's your 8 stat character. He's going to be your 8 intelligence. But I will say, while he's a 6 intelligence on his grid, the Time Traveler is an 8 intelligence defensively. So he's got the inherent where he can play 8 intelligence power cards on defense. And again, everything's trying to be thematic. He can defend really well with intelligence because he knows what's going to happen in the future. And that's what that inherent's supposed to represent. And then Sherlock Holmes, he's going to have cards through his build that allow him to, not surprisingly, do some spying effects or like search out cards out of the deck and do things. He'll pair very well with 221 Baker Street, which for Sherlock Holmes aficionados, that's his apartment that he rents. So of course he and Watson will both have cards that interact with that home base and kind of can gear you more toward looking at the cards in your opponent's hand and then allowing you through the home base to choose certain ones to discard. So it's a much more of a kind of get the information you need and then cherry pick out what you want to get around. Joan of Arc, she's our last character in the Time Detectives. I said too, she's an intelligence-based character. So she's going to have kind of more support cards and numerical modifiers but again, like with all of the cards in this set, we tried to look at cards that say like this character's +2 to venture for remainder of battle. Well, not a card that really sees play in a competitive environment. What do we need to do with that mechanic to make it playable? That's where Joan of Arc comes in. I think you'll find her 1 per deck that modifies the mechanics to be very flavorful and very impactful in the game. So that kind of gets us through our box openings. I don't know about the rest of you, but I've heard me talk enough now at this point. We are way up to 10:30 here, guys. So we are well past the 2-hour mark. I can't believe, looking now, there's still 38 people that are with us. So guys, thanks very much for sticking with us. Is Danny still around? Is there anything else we wanted to do before we jump into these Q&As? All right. Guys, one thing I want to say too, I know it's already 10:30. We're launching in, about an hour and a half. We would love it if you guys pledge tonight. You know, we really want to hit these thresholds where Kickstarter starts to advertise for us. So if you're planning on pledging, please don't wait. You know, I'd love to see the people, some of the retailers, people that aren't going to stay up with us, to pop up tomorrow and already see us, you know, well into the 6 figures. So I know some of the retailers told us they're going to stay up and buy tonight. So yeah, if you guys are willing, we appreciate it. We love the support. We want this to work because we love OverPower as much as you. So we're super nervous about the pledges. Hang out with us tonight and pledge it 2:01 when that thing goes live. Somebody just wrote, "My fingers ready." Thank you guys so much. I'm going to get emotional if I talk about it too much, but this has really been a journey it's a dream come true on every level, guys. Getting to try to bring this to you, a set that we poured our hearts and souls into. We genuinely think you're going to just absolutely love playing with, being able to work with comic book artists that I idolized as a kid to bring you some of the best comic book art I've ever seen, let alone the best art I've ever seen in the CCG. Just we're doing it for you, and we couldn't do it without you. So I really hope that we are doing everything we can, not just to make you love the product, but feel like you're a part of this, because we feel like you're a part of it. We want you to have the agency. We make ourselves available as much as we can. We try to get on the Discord as much as we can. And we really want you to understand, we don't just look at you as a customer. We look at you as a vital part of this community. And we hope you treat each other that way as well. We really want to foster, through the thousands and thousands of people that are going to get into this game, the same thing we've been able to foster with the people who've come and played in any of our tournaments. And I really touted to say, I've never heard a person who actually takes the time to show up and meet everybody and play who's had a bad thing to say about the community that we've built. And in fact, even people that for whatever reason were nervous or weren't sure what to think, who's shown up and met our community and played, we've just gotten heaps of praises. And I think that's intentional. I think that's something that it's not just us. It's not just the people that run it. It's making sure everybody understands this is what we want. This is better for everybody. We're cultivating this really great thing that we need. And now I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but nowadays more than ever, communities of people that love and support each other, they're few and far between. And this is a place where you get to go, blow off steam, play a silly game with your friends, and also get that feeling of community and camaraderie that I look forward to. It is some of the biggest, it's the things I look forward to the most in the year. So it's just thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring that to you. And hopefully you get to have that same experience. That's regardless of the money and the business or anything else. That's what I personally want more than anything else, is to bring that experience to everybody. So I hope you guys really liked our unboxings of our first two starters. I hope you love the homage of the design, so they look like the old starter decks. We really looked at the layouts and tried to include stuff to be true to the old starter decks. Yeah, so I guess at that point, we've talked about the Kickstarter. We've shown you guys some new cards. We've revealed all the characters that are going to be in the starters. Let's go to those questions. Letty, the amazing Letty, do you want to come up here and read me some questions? Are you ready? Oh, is Letty still here? There's Mystique herself. She looked like somebody else. That's why I didn't know. I'm not hearing Letty. Are you hearing Letty, Ronald?
Yeah, she's very low. Letty, you're very low. Can you hear her now, Joe?
I literally can't hear her at all.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you either.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
So you have me now.
Oh, is my headphones just dead? Hold on. No, well, you're hearing me on the microphone, right?
Yeah.
All right, say something now. Oh, I can. My headphones were dead. You were hearing me over the onboard mic. Well, I hope everybody heard me clearly. So, Letty, what do we got for questions here? Letty, are you with us?
Joe, I have a.
Yeah, it was my fault, Letty. My headphones had turned off. All right, what do we got? Hit me with it. Yes, 100%. We have two reduced starter decks that are basically a little bigger than half decks. A little similar themes. One of them's got Cthulhu and some characters. One of them's got Three Musketeers and some characters. But we absolutely, I'm not sure where it'll live. It'll either live on our website or through our player network portal, which is being developed now. And we've seen some rough versions of it, and it's amazing. But yes, once we get both of those, once we get one of those resources functional, one of the first things we're going to do is release those print and play starter decks for you guys. So 100%. They're already designed. They've already been play tested. The art's already in. They are sitting there ready to go. They'll be to you guys soon. I think we've said it, but it's never wrong to ask again and say it again. We know we get new followers. None of the characters are exclusive. All of the characters are in the packs, and the reason for that is we want all of the characters to be an option in draft. If we only had Mina Harker in here and she's your favorite character, you're going to be bummed that you can't ever draft her and play with her. So the packs are set up to be draftable, and also you're only getting, like, for example, for some of these characters, you're only getting 4 cards. A lot of these non-1 products, you're going to want to play multiple copies in your deck. I don't want you to have to go out and buy 3 starter decks just to get 3 of each Zeus card. You know, so you'll be able to pick those up in the booster packs. Oh, we're here. Hey, I'm up till midnight, guys. So as long as you guys want to stay here, I'll keep answering questions. Oof. So first part is it's 10:28. I don't want to speak to it because I know I'm not gonna get the math right. They were asking for, if we reach the stretch goal, what is the drop rate on the foil? I'm gonna say I think it's whatever the standard percentage is for drop rates for a foil and a pack in general. That's what we did for our rare drop rate, is we just looked at the other games, got an idea of what the drop rates were for a foil and another CCG, and we put ours. I mean, everything we did, we tried to do a little bit more often, just so we could say, you know, like, well, you'll get a foil a little more often than your other games. So what I'll say is it's going to be a little more often than what you get in another game. But what was the second part of the question? We'll make sure those drop rates are public knowledge at some point, so you'll know exactly the card count and the drop rates and what you're going to get. I don't know it right now, and I don't want to speak incorrectly. So I'm not 100% clear on the question, so I'll just tell you what we have. So this set is Edgar Rice Burroughs and the World Legends. It is a full set that mixes those characters. They're never going to be taken out of this set. This is a set on its own. It's its own, it's its own thing that will live forever as the Edgar Rice Burroughs set. We licensed 8 characters from Edgar Rice Burroughs. So we have Jane and Tarzan. If you read any of the Jane comics from Edgar Rice Burroughs, if you haven't, pick them up. They're cool. They're great for kids. She runs an archaeology team, very Indiana Jones-esque. She's got her own team. She goes and does missions, and she's great. She's very capable. That's the version of her we're finding her at, where she's at that point in her life. We've got Korak, who, if you ever read the old comics as a kid, he was the son of Tarzan, very popular character. From the John Carter universe, we have John Carter, Deja Thoris, which we spoiled, and Tars Tarkas, the Jeddak of Thark, the main green Martian with the 4 arms. Really fun mechanics. He can place an extra basic universe card because he's always got 2 swords. Just fun themed mechanics. So that's 6. And then we've got Victory Harbin, who we already talked about. And then the other line of books is Carson of Venus. And we made sure to pull in Carson of Venus, which is one of the main protagonists from one of his other most popular book lines. That character has some telepathic powers, very intelligent. Yeah, so those are your 8 characters. They're included in this suite of characters. They'll never be taken out of it. They'll always be part of this. If this set was to ever be reproduced, they would be in it. So I think that answers the question. I hope it does. All right, Letty, what do we got? I think you'll know that if from now, having watched the video, these are set. You buy Ungodly Powers, you buy Horror Menagerie, you just saw exactly the cards you're going to get. They will be printed through Cardamundi. Like I said, we printed these with a smaller printer just for review copies. Although I will say the cards are beautiful. Like this printer did an amazing job. It's really awesome how great printing technology has been for
samples and review copies. But as gorgeous as they are, I think Cardamundi will be even better because they just are the best in the world at printing cards. So, but they're set. So the 4 starter decks are set. You'll know exactly what you get in them. They're going to be the same things. And if you buy one of each starter deck, you will have at least one of every power card, every training card, every ally card, and every basic universe card. So you will have one of all of those if you get 4 starter decks.
This just came in. Someone asking which printer did you use? I'm thinking I think it's for these demo cards.
Oh, for the demo cards, I'd have to go look that up. I actually don't remember which one we ended up going with off the top of our head because we reviewed so many of them before we pulled the trigger. So, sorry on that one. I can't help you out on that one just yet. All right, what do we got next?
This next question, it seems like a lot of people want to buy the highest 5K tier. If I have
guys,
a total
geez,
business license,
Sorry,
that's
Hey,
what-
wait 1 second. There is a limited amount of 5K tiers, to be clear, because the 5K tier is the only one that has access to the ultra rare seat as well. Just to keep that in mind.
So he's saying if you want it, you better be on at 12:01 and hit that button a lot of times. Sorry, what's the next question, Letty?
But the question is, if I have a toy business license but not a store, can I still buy the highest 5K?
Oh, there's no restrictions on the Kickstarter. So, we're having conversations with the main game distributing companies who reached out to us. We're having the meetings. We'll talk all about that as those things develop. But as far as the Kickstarter goes, we're calling them retail tiers because they're geared toward you. They're designed to help you do it as a retailer. But your mom could go buy the highest one, or your cousin. Like there's no restrictions. If you go on and you want to pledge that tier, you can be an individual, you can be I don't know, like an entire football team of players that want to split it and play on the bus on their way to games. I'm not going to give any other weird random examples, but yeah, anyone can buy it. You don't need a license. You don't need any kind of retailer license. We have just done the work of trying to cultivate what we think is the most useful to you and the best deal for you. And we did that with a lot of meetings and a lot of store consultations and adjustment. And we spent months with a lot of stores trying to get it right. So, so we hope you will buy.
Just to interject, we are going to be using Pledge Manager post campaign. And the Pledge Manager will allow for retail stores as well to be able to purchase booster box at a wholesale price that are not available to retail customers. And this is because we really believe in supporting our local game stores in being able to have draft limited play.
So there you go, guys. You heard it here first. So if you are a retailer, there are going to be some benefits later on after you pledge. So, and again, this is all while supplies last. We've got a decent print run, but we could sell out. It's not necessarily an infinite print run. That doesn't mean we won't ever make more. I mean, if it goes immediately or something insane, but you'll never have the first edition version again, meaning this is the first edition. It's going to have the set symbol and some combination of a K over it or next to it. It will have the Kickstarter symbol in what we hopefully hope is a decades long journey of creating a great game and a great global community. This is the first one that's going to come out. And if we didn't get into this to create crazy collectability, but if that 250 card pack is any indication, that thing's got easily $500 worth of cards in it, and we're not even launched yet. Yeah, you might kick yourself if you had a chance to buy in now. So Sorry, guys, I'm giving you the hard sell tonight because we're real nervous about launch. All right, Mystique, what's the next question? All good nerves, excitement nerves.
So basically, please buy all the 5K tiers.
Yeah, let's. I want to wake up tomorrow and they're already gone. So
So let's move on. We have one here. Are there any cards that might not go to retail due to contract or something like that?
no, nope.
Nope.
Simple
Straight
answer.
on it. Nope. Is there a cap on booster boxes? For example, can I back for 10 extra booster boxes?
That's more of a Danny Ronald question, but I'm
The answer is
90%.
yes. Yes. There is no cap on an individual. If you wanted to buy, let's say, the Dueler, and then you want 6 more booster boxes, you can just buy the booster boxes. Of course, while supplies last.
So I think what he meant is no, there's no cap. But yes, you can go on and buy as many extras as you want for the add-ons. Thank you, Ronald.
This next
All
one
right,
about uncut sheets. Are the uncut sheets only being offered during the Kickstarter, or will those be offered after the Kickstarter?
They are going to be, there's definitely going to be some way to get uncut sheets as prize support. Most likely, and we're still figuring this out, so bear with us. We don't know what the tournament scene is going to look like. You know, we have an idea of how many stores bought in, or are planning to buy in. We definitely will be providing prize support in the best way that we can. Whatever shape that unfolds into, these uncut sheets, for example, there will be a relatively rare amount of them that are provided for stores. It will be for bigger events. It will be at our regionals. It will be at our nationals. It will be at larger exhibitions type events. If a region wants to have a really highly competitive exhibition to prep for a bigger event, there will be ways for them to go out as prize support. They will not be very common. So a lot of them are going to go out to stores who do the bigger tiers. But then we intentionally are going to make them much more scarce after that. This is not something where I'm going to say we'll never produce them again. There will be a way to get them at some point. But if you really want one, I would recommend doing one of the add-ons for the uncut sheets, because we're not going to make them very easy to get other than that.
You just mentioned prize support, and there's a question here. When will we see a tournament floor rules document and the prize pack?
Well, the tournament floor rules document is actually already out. So it's mostly been distributed through email through our existing NAOL community. But it's something that's already been, vetted, and it's actually been in effect for our NAOL circuit this year. And that's something, if there's anybody that really wants that, I would say, speak up on our Discord or provide us with an email. I'll send it over immediately. And they've worked very well. There's a couple of tweaks here and there, like any developing thing where we've decided like, oh, we didn't really address this. Let's expand this section. But that document's already in very good shape. And it's a tournament ethics guide. So it really covers our floor rules for how Lazarus Rising Games wants events to be run. But it also just kind of gives our North Star, our mission statement, which is to make sure that any tournament that's held, any event that has to do with this cards, lives up to our feeling of a all-inclusive community that is a completely safe space for anybody to show up to, any race, any orientation, whatever you identify as. We want you to come to this game to be your completely true, authentic self and feel accepted and loved by the community as a whole. And I know this is something that's gotten brought up before. There's been specific people in the community here and there where there's been unfortunate things or incidents that were said. We actually created this document and this guide to address that directly and say, this is what is going to be tolerated at what we have purview over our events. And this is the environment we are going to build at our events. So it's always going to be an environment of inclusivity and acceptance of everybody. And that is, that's just who we are as people outside of the game. And that is absolutely something we believe in from the ground up. So.
And someone just asked here, are we going to be at Comic-Con or WonderCon in California next year? which Ron replied will be 100% in San Diego and at
Yeah.
New York Comic Con on Thursday.
Yeah,
You're at
and
New York
actually,
Comic Con.
that's what I wanted to say. We are planning to be next year at San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, PAX Unplugged, Gen Con, C2E2, and then Gamma as well.
And I think to Origins, I think we might try to do not. Don't quote me on this, but Doug Sims has been chatting a lot with us about Origins. We may try to make that one too. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would expect you should expect that Overpower as a game is going to start to have a presence at any major con, both comic book and gaming.
Oh yeah, Overpower's
Be
back.
everywhere.
It lives. Overpower lives.
It lives. This one popped up during the card unboxing, the deck
Okay.
boxes, because everyone was mesmerized with the art.
I hope
Will
it's not a
the
misspelled
artist
word. I worked really hard.
No, it's not. Not the
Okay.
proofreader again. Will the artist's name be listed in each card?
Yeah, so you might have missed the beginning, but we said these are not print, these are review copies. So the final version of the card will have the artist name credited. It will have a set number that tells you the set has this many cards. And it'll say one of 470, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the final count ends up being. And then it will also have the set icon. So going forward, just like most games do now, you'll be able to identify what set a card came from by the icon that's at the bottom of the card.
And we're almost coming to the end of it. Is the energy starter the only one with the 2/8 stat characters?
Yes, I believe so. Well, the Time Detectives has the Time Traveler can use the 8 intelligence defensively, but not offensively. So I would say technically that one has 2/8, but we saw that Horror Menagerie didn't, and I believe, let me go through the resistance again. It was Zorro, Three Musketeers, Billy the Kid, and I'm gonna remember this. I keep spacing on the last one, and I gotta go look. I gotta click over. And John Carter. So without giving too much away, technically, one of the characters does have a way to become an 8 rank character out of that group, but that won't come into play for the starter deck version. That'll be when you get the full version. So to just out of the box have 2/8, that's the one that's going to have the 2/8.
And this just came in. Are Sherlock, Moriarty, and Dracula all 8 intelligence characters? How many 8 stat characters are there?
So the set has 3 8 characters in each stat. We wanted to build a good foundation. They are more expensive than you're used to your 8s being. It's not going to be common to have 2 8s on a deck like the old one, and you'll actually start to notice that they're themed in a way and they're structured in a way where it's not always going to be the best to do that. There's actually a lot. What we've seen in playtesting is there's a lot of space to build a max 7 deck, and it's competitive because of the way we're doing the design. So there's definitely playable decks that are going to have 2/8s on them, but you're going to see a very mid-maxy deck where you got to really try to keep those guys alive because you might not get as much juice from an angry mob, for example. But so I lost my train of thought a little bit, but yes, the 2 energy characters in that one deck are the only one. What was the question again, Letty?
Yeah. So are Sherlock, Moriarty, and Dracula
I'm
all
back. I'm back. Yes.
intelligent characters?
So yes, you've deduced it. They are the 3 8 intelligence characters in the set. They're, Dracula, you're pretty familiar with it if you've played the fan version that gets played in the NAOL at 22 points. Pretty hard to combine with a Moriarty who's a 21 pointer. But there's definitely I've seen a couple of really cool decks mixing Holmes and Moriarty. So in this version, somehow they end up working together, even though they're mortal enemies. But so there are versions of the decks which do that, but the whole idea is there's nothing that's just auto builds anymore. The old game got to a lot of places in the later sets where it's like, well, I'm going to have 2 8s. I'm going to have a negator. I'm going to have a 9 or lesser. My reserve's going to have functionality. So this reserve slot, I have a choice of 4 characters. This negator, I have a choice of 4 characters. I'm going to auto include this 8 because it does this. That's what we want to get away from. If you see a deck with 2 8s on it, there is something that it's specifically trying to do. There's a theme or built into the mechanics of what you're doing. So all of the deck building is going to be a lot more thoughtful. There's going to be a lot less of just like, and not to say that it doesn't, the deck in itself can't be a vanilla like try to kill a guy deck, but that's going to be a conscious choice. You're going to say, oh, Leonidas is very bread and butter. He's offenses and defenses. This character is offenses, the Invisible Man, but can cut through a lot of the cards on the table because he's invisible. I want to build that deck and focus on character KO. That's kind of the equivalent to, say, aggro red in Magic the Gathering. I summon a lot of small creatures first. I run them at the other side of the board as fast as I can. Those strategies are going to exist now, but they're going to be strategies that you specifically build out and say, I want this kind of aggro aggressive, KO strategy. So I think that answers that question and then 10 other questions that you didn't ask. But I'll move on to the next question now.
Yeah, you love answering implicit questions.
Hmm.
I think we unleashed the beast and people are getting hungrier for information. Is Angry
Oh.
Mob Middle Ages a variant of Angry Mob? Do they have a third variant?
That one we're going to keep under the vest for now. So maybe not. We'll that one we're going to keep that one close. So I want to answer all the questions, but I guess I won't be able to do that quite yet tonight.
We'll let you know. What can you tell us about the 40% early bird deal?
Is it out yet? I don't how this. I need Danny back.
So Danny's unavailable right now, but basically you're going to be receiving an email, a notification that there's going to be an early bird deal. It's for it's a limited time and it's a limited availability. Just jump on the Kickstarter at midnight and you'll see it.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't think don't jump on expecting to have the world moved or it to be like it's just it's a nice little thing we're trying to give you a little bit of a break on price on for logging on early. So it's pretty simple. It's not we're not talking like exclusive New York promo hero cards or anything like that, but it's just a nice little thing to help pad the budget a little. It's really geared. I'd say it's geared more toward newer players than maybe like the super hardcore people that are on. So, anyway.
I would have to agree with Joe. Yeah.
That's the last one for you, Joe. Are the power type labels being left off a promo version of the card, like textless or something like that?
Not the promo version. You're asking about if you've noticed certain cards like the pictures of the Leonidas promo that might have gone out. That's what's denoting the ultra rares and the rares from the regular versions of the heroes. So, our model, I think I've talked about this to death, but all of our rares and ultra rares, that's where we're pushing the bigger name artists that we're hiring to do art for. We wanted them to have a bigger canvas. So when you get a rare or an ultra rare, you're getting to see the entire picture and we're just putting the icons on. We're keeping the words on the common and uncommon or the common heroes. But yeah, if you get your rare Leonidas, you're going to see that there's just the symbols and it's not going to say energy, combat, brute force, intelligence. But that's where the difference is. It's nothing to do with promo, not promo. It's the difference between the rare alternative art versions by the, kind of the big name artists that we hired and the common versions.
And that's it. We only have some questions for Danny now. She left some answers. What do you think, Ron?
Read them to me.
Joe can answer those. Joe can answer those questions. But there was just one question that I wanted to go over for the promos that are going to be at the convention. We are going to have some convention-only promos, and these convention-only promos are going to have the convention logo on them. Whoever comes and qualifies for it is going to be able to get them. And the rest of the stock that we have available is going to be destroyed, and those are going to be really rare versions. But we might create versions of those again without the convention name for future release. We just can't exactly tell you when, because there's many different ways or moments in which we could be giving them out.
So I'm going to contradict you a little bit. We will not be using the same art for the Witchblade. That one is going to entirely be this convention
Perfect.
exclusive. The Raymond Gay Leonidas is going to exist in our set, but this is the con variant exclusive. That's only going to be given out at this convention. And this is just something, this is a pretty common practice. This is the only place you can get these exclusives is at the con. We want to see you guys out there and showing up and incentivize people to come to the booth and do that stuff in person. But the good news is there'll be more of them and there'll be a secondary market. If you really want that card, it's not going to be ungettable. And part of it to us, and this is going to help you guys, we're trying to demonstrate to people, because I get it. There's sometimes people get the feeling like, well, that's not like I want to get it. It's frustrating that I can't get it. I can't get out to New York. But what it also does is we can show that these cards have a secondary market value. This Witchblade I expect to shoot up over the 100 to 150 that the Cthulhu 5 multi is going for. We want these cards to have a demand and go up in price, because that's going to solidify our model that these alternative art cards are going to have a market. That's what's going to let stores know they can trust our innovative collation model, that our rare art by Mark Silvestri, that's going to shoot up and be worth enough that they're going to make space in their case for OverPower singles. They're going to stack commons and uncommons in the long boxes in the back. We need to be able to demonstrate that. So as much as I would love to send everybody every card we do, this from a little more from a business standpoint, we need to be able to demonstrate that cards that are created with rarity also have the value to stimulate the singles market, because that's a big part of what we're trying to do for the brick and mortar stores. Like we've said so much for the retailers, we understand that your margins if the retailer's watching or watching this later, we know the margins. We've talked to the stores. We understand that the pack margins, and they're better on some games, they'll be good on our game, but they're still not great. Your margins are really coming from buying cards at a 40% markdown and then flipping them for full price. We're encouraging that. Unlike other games, we want you guys to be able to make that living off selling these singles and having that like big card market. So we're going to do everything we can to demonstrate and show you that market's viable and keep it vibrant. And that includes like just continuing to make outroads. We've got bigger and bigger artists that we're making connections with every day. Ronald, I'm 90% sure I can't announce any of the new artists we're talking about, right? That's not.
No,
Nope.
not
Okay.
yet. Until we are dying to share everything that we have, but until everything is inked, we just won't, because if we jump the gun and tell you that we have X, Y, Z, and then we don't, we're gonna feel horrible, and we want to be able to commit to what we say.
And also, we could just lose the deal if we were to say something. But there's some great, huge artists that we haven't announced yet that even for this first set are going to be doing some art. So even after you guys pledge, you're going to be getting some of these big bombs dropped. Yeah. Anything else? What else do we got? Any more
No,
Danny
yeah.
questions?
John Keffer asks when we can get some OverPower apparel.
So the apparel's really going to be released just with the Kickstarter, John. Play mats. The only thing we might get before then is anything we're not offering. So hoodies, for example. You recognize our gorgeous original hoodies that we did for the Boston event last year. No promises, but there may be a world where we start selling hoodies if there's a demand for them. But anything that we're offering on the Kickstarter, playmats, sleeves, deck boxes, binders, you'll get to see some of those samples tomorrow, which will be great. Any of that we're offering on the Kickstarter, you're not going to see it for sale until way after the Kickstarter, at least till the Kickstarter is fulfilled. And then even if you're getting it after the Kickstarter closes with like a late pledge, you're going to be paying retail price for it at that point. So, we'd love to bring you more merch and more apparel, but we're not quite there yet. So.
All right. I think we have some Kickstarter questions that are aimed at Danny.
Danny? Okay, I'm gonna do my best with these. Danny's the expert, but I'll see if I can answer them.
Yeah, she left some answers for us in case you don't know. But is there going to be a limit on the number of limited time tier, or just get it within the 24 hours?
This is you
This-
talking about the early bird tier?
Early bird tiers, yes.
There's a limited number for sure. Quantity is low. I'm not sure about the time limit. God, again, this is a Danny question. I thought it was just like tonight, basically. I don't even think it was tomorrow, but I might be wrong about that. I'm guessing that email that comes out is going to tell you exactly how long you have. So I'm going to say Danny's awesome at what she does and she's super thorough. Consult the email and go with whatever Danny says.
So what Danny left here for us is that there are only 100 early bird offers. And when they're gone, they're gone. So be the first to get it, because once the 100 is over, it's over. Not anymore.
not
The
that
next
many.
one, not that many, no. If I pledge tonight and the Kickstarter doesn't get funded, will I get refunded, or does the funds get taken, or do the funds get taken once the Kickstarter is funded?
Definitely, if it doesn't get funded, you get your money back. 100%. That's how Kickstarter works. I am really beyond not worried about that. I think you're going to see this thing funded within an hour. It's not. I don't think we have thresholds we're looking at that are dwarfing what we put for the low tier. We're pretty committed to doing this no matter what. I would be pretty shocked if this thing doesn't fulfill almost immediately. So plus we want to get one of those cool badges that says it fulfilled in 5 minutes and then use that to push it. So but yeah, the so basically it's a Kickstarter. I think, again, I'm not the best. Danny's the Kickstarter expert. I believe it charges you but holds the money, and if the project doesn't go now, they send it back. That's the way they do it. So
Yeah, so basically, if we did not get funded, we did not keep the money. So
absolutely, yeah, we do not take any money unless it's funded and you're getting the product. So there's no risk that to take the money and run.
will there be late pledges or a pledge manager post campaign?
Yeah, so Ronald touched on the pledge manager a little bit. So Ronald, why don't you field this question?
So the pledge manager is going to work similar to the campaign itself. During the campaign duration, you're going to be able to purchase a tier, upgrade or downgrade, or even cancel. But the time that you have to actually purchase into the Kickstarter is going to be from the start until the end of it. Once the campaign is over, our pledge manager opens, and then you get a second window where we're going to get more information, make sure that we can track every order, make sure that all the fulfillments can be done in a very timely manner. And during that pledge window, pledge manager window, you'll be able to again upgrade your tiers or purchase additional add-ons.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do they cost more though if you wait till after at that point to add them on? Are they? I believe at that point they go up to the retail cost
It's going to
for
be
the
much
regular.
closer to retail cost because
Yeah.
also we have to factor in that there's production and all these other things, and we have to give numbers to our vendors and our partners. So the later you pledge, it's going to be a little bit more expensive compared to when you pledge at the beginning.
For people, but a lot of the retailer stuff, that's not the case, right? The retailers
Retail
actually.
stuff, no, it's set.
Yep. Okay. So for the individual, it behooves you to do it during the campaign. You can add stuff on and expand after, but if you do it after the campaign ends, it's going to cost you more money. Just do it earlier and get the deal. Retailers, you're in a different boat. So retailers, your prices are set, and there'll actually be some. Yeah. So that I think I've said it all. I'm just
Yeah, we'll
repeating
be
what
able to
Ronald
do
said.
custom order for retailers in case they want to increase the amount that of product that they need. Yeah.
Yeah, are we going? Are we on for the next hour? Are we just gonna go straight through? I don't know if I got another hour left in me.
Guys, that's 1 hour. Yeah, it's the
Three
1 hour
three more
mark.
questions, Joe.
Let's do it.
Let's go. So can add-ons be purchased individually later as a separate order? I believe Danny answered this in the beginning of the session.
Yeah, not as a
add-ons.
separate order, but yes. So what you can do is once you pledge, you have throughout the entire campaign. So say for example, you pledge the Dueler, and then you decide, you know what, it's been a couple weeks. I'm really getting excited about all the different. We've got a lot of great content we're going to provide you guys. We're not just like saying, okay, it's day one, we're done. We've got a bunch of influencers that are going to be doing reviews and unboxings. We've got a partner we're working with to release our full learn to play video. I told you we're gonna be doing some interactions with Ron and Steve, the original guys from Fleer who designed the game during its entire course at Fleer. We've got a lot of great content we're going to be bringing out to you guys to help you get to know the game better, to get to know the rules better. So this whole thing's going to be a journey, and if 15 days into this 30-day journey, you decide you want to up your tier, you decide, oh, I had a good week, I want to throw a couple booster boxes on there. It won't be in its own order. You'll go into your order, go over it, and just click more, add it in, and check out.
And now that's the last one.
Oh, that was the last one?
No, now it's the last one. I'm gonna read it.
Oh, it's good. Okay, I was gonna say you got to give me the heads. I want to be able to celebrate the last question. All right, last question of the night, 11:03, our longest Q&A yet.
That was our longest one, yeah. How many total unique cards will there be in the new sets?
There will be. I'm gonna give you a minimum. There will be a minimum. Let me do some math here in my head. I believe the minimum number of unique cards, including all the power cards, universe cards, home bases, characters, specials, is right around 470. It is a very big set. It's a very ambitious set. We wanted this to seed out your core so that if we wanted to make a smaller set, a smaller license, say for example, we got something niche where maybe there were 4 specific characters that did karate and didn't maybe have as many characters, as other sets, we could launch that as a smaller set. If we wanted to do a really big set, we could still do another big set, but this would give you enough to really branch out a strong basic core set. It's ambitious. The original set was pretty big. It was 39 characters. They had less kind of developed cards where they didn't have any character cards, which we're going to include. They didn't have ally cards yet, which we like what it brings to the game. So we're basically doing a little bit of a bigger size than the core set. And the reason for that, again, it's all thought out meticulously. The original core set that was very big, OverPower original and its 39 characters, they only had 3 power types. We're trying to make sure we have a healthy meta within all 4 power types. So we increased it a little bit more to a 41 character core set and about 470 unique cards total. So that's also a big reason why we wanted to give you guys the 17 card packs because we want to give you the more value, but we also want to make sure you can collect the set, and we want the experience to not feel like you're having to get a lot more to get the same thing you get with another game. We really want every player to come to this and say, hey, this can be my second game. I can get into this for a pretty low price point if I just want to get decks and I don't care about collecting the rares. Or I can, collect a lot of the playable cards. I don't have to break the bank. But also, like, if I really want to get like the amazing rare cards that these artists have done, like that's there too. So all of this stuff is done with pretty meticulous eye into creating an experience for you that feels like what you'd get from the CCGs you enjoyed playing and buying into with better value at the same time. So
Yeah, exactly what Joe said.
that's it. Guys,
Right.
don't fall asleep. You still got an hour. What should we do? Should we show art for the next hour?
We could, but I think we should take a small break and sort of figure out where we are.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Tonight's the night. It's, I hope you're all excited as I am. I mean, God, who really thought we would ever be here? Honestly, who would have really thought that OverPower would come back? I mean, I still remember even 6 or 7 years ago, Yeah, well, you know what? I will take a drink of water. Thank you. Who would have thought 6 or 7 years ago, even before we decided to go down this road, that there would really be OverPower back on the market? I mean, even today, we had people, a couple of players from the old game that they don't believe yet. Maybe they haven't seen everything we're doing, or they don't understand the level we're doing it on, but still saying like, guys, the game died. It's never coming back. Guys, it's back. I mean, uh, you're going to be able to go buy OverPower on the shelves at your store. You're going to be able to go to tournaments in major regions. You're going to be able to get ready and train for a fully funded regional and national tournaments. Everything you did in that experience, you're going to be able to relive it, and you're going to be able to bring a whole new generation into it. And I think in an environment where it's likely to flourish a lot more than it did before too. In-person gaming is at an all-time high. CCGs in particular are doing exceptionally well right now. We've got 20 years of pitfalls that other games made that we're able to use as a blueprint of what to avoid. We're running this as such a small company. We're so agile and so lean. I think we can do things and address the needs of the community. And I think being players just puts us in a really unique position of understanding, all of the great experiences we've had playing the game and all of the bad experiences, and how to avoid some of those pitfalls right from the base core card design into how we design tournaments and how we design player incentives and outreach. So, I mean, we're working 18 hours a day trying to bring this guys to you. So all right, Letty, I gave it some time. Now there's got to be more questions. I rambled for 5 minutes. What do we got?
We just had one more question on what brand are the card sleeves?
Oh, Titan Shield. If you missed that, yeah, fantastic. We'll announce it again. Tonight's the official announcement night. OverPower has partnered with Titan Shield. All of our card sleeves are going to be produced by Titan Shield. So that's official as of tonight. You heard it here first. So Titan Shield is an official partner of the OverPower card game, and they're great. Their sleeves are awesome.
Okay, guys, you know where to reach us. We're available on Discord almost all the time, and we'll see you soon.
We don't know who will make the card binders yet. We've got a bunch of different companies that are submitting samples. We just got to pick the one we think is the coolest. We haven't made the final decision yet. So, but guys, we're not going to bed. So hang out with us. We're going to be over on Discord. So I'm gonna take a 5 or 10 minute break, get some dinner, but we'll jump on there. We'll go to the general chat. Let's make it a big hangout party, and we'll be answering questions on the general chat throughout the night. So let us take a break, and we're gonna see you over there. So.
And a reminder that tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST we have the launch party.
Yes, launch party, guys. Join us tomorrow. It's gonna be great. We should make some really huge, ridiculous promises that aren't true that we can't keep. Like, I don't know if you guys had heard, but Snoop Dogg's actually joining us and is going to do some rapping. What else is going to happen?
No. If we manage to break 1 million, Joe has to get an OverPower tattoo designed by the community.
Actually, yeah, but that one's real.
That's real, but that's completely crazy.
Yeah, you guys heard it here first, but the 31 of you that remained, start thinking up your ideas, because I have made a deal with these guys. If we break the $1 million mark, I'm going to get, now I did preface this, a tasteful OverPower mark. I'm not going to get like an OverPower lower back tattoo, but we will design something. Actually, you know what, guys? For the 31 that stayed around, I forgot to tell you the big announcement. So we've decided on what the promo card is for Seattle. Keith, I hope you're still here, because I know this one you'll like. So we are creating a card that's the promo that we're going to do to replace the Seattle promo is only going to be legal in Golden Age and Vintage. It won't be reproduced for Modern Age. It's going to be a Hades hero, Hades, the god of the underworld. Hades is going to cost 28 threat. Hades is going to be able to play any non-1 per decks available by any of your characters. And Hades' grid is going to be equal to any of the grids of any characters that are currently alive on your team. that may sound familiar, but we heard what everybody said about cards that are a little bit tough to get, and that we're not going to allow certain proxies. So we're going to just make sure that you guys have certain things that are available. So what you might see, kind of because I think it's funny, we're not going to put all that in inherent ability. We're going to print Hades with his stats on the front, and then we're going to put the paragraph of text on how it works on the back. Yeah, we just got the first set of art in for that card, so it's going to be a little bit. Honestly, I can't even promise we'll have it by November. You might actually get the Boston promo before the Seattle promo, but that's first, and that's definitely what we're going to do. So we're starting there, and we're going to hook you guys up as much as we can to make Golden Age as playable as possible. So I hope you like that. I hope that was worth sticking around. All right, I'm gonna hang up. My throat hurts. I'm gonna go get some food, get some water. Letty, thank you for being with us and reading the questions as always. You're wonderful. Ronald, thanks for backing me up and running the tech board. Danny, if you can hear us out there, you're crushing it. You're an amazing partner. We're so lucky to have you. And to all my founders who I didn't pull on tonight, Keith, Sean, Dave, thanks to you. I'm doing an Oscar speech now. Thanks, guys, for being. I wouldn't have done this with anybody else. Thanks to our expanded design team, both of the Costa twins, Ty Bertrand, Luke for doing the graphic design, Ori for making. Guys, how was that commercial? I mean, honestly, it blew me away. So if you guys need to do any kind of commercial with animation, go to Kagan Productions. They really crushed it. I love them. You will be seeing more from them. I absolutely plan on twisting Ronald's arm to get Top Cow commercials made for them. I'm already thinking in my head how much our publicists, Gary and Emily, they're wonderful. I love every conversation we have. Gary's such a cool guy. We got to hang out with him at San Diego Comic-Con, and he's hilarious and he's a blast. We've got a just really blessed with a really fantastic team. So thank you, everybody. I think I got everybody. They're playing me off here. I can hear the music. My camera just shut down on its own, and I think that's a good time to call it quits. So, all right, guys. I will talk to everyone later.